All meetings of the Fitchburg Planning Board are open to the public. This does not mean that the public participates in all aspects of the meeting. It simply means that the meeting itself, including all discussions and votes, is open for public view. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing, please raise your hand and the board will acknowledge you at the appropriate time during the hearing. The board will also monitor any participants that are attending virtually for questions at the appropriate time. Virtual attendees are asked to use the raise hand function to be acknowledged. 1, state your name and address. 2, approach the center table and either stand or sit. This allows you to be seen and heard clearly by everyone in attendance. The planning board requests that comments be limited to no more than 5 minutes in the interest of time. When on FTV, please be.
They still are.
They are?
Yep.
Oh, please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video, recording of this meeting for public broadcast. And I ask that anyone in the audience who is recording this meeting, please identify themselves for the record now by stating their name and address. Not. Okay. And we opened the meeting at 6:01 p.m. And also, we're going to take attendance. Those in attendance, please say here. Paul?
Here.
Peter?
Here.
Alex?
Here.
Amanda?
Here.
Paula? Here. We are a board of 6, 5.
7.
Yeah.
Board.
Typically a board of 7. We have 5 attendees this evening. And we do have one board member that have to consent for an item further on the agenda.
You can make a general statement about all the special permits. So,
Well, in regards to that, let's get to the hearing portion of it. Special permits do require a majority vote of the board, which are, in our case, is 5 members. So when we have 5 members, that would be all in the affirmative. In some cases, before we open a hearing, we will mention that to the applicant, and it'd be your choice whether or not you want to move forward with that in the board of 5 or request a continuance to the next month's meeting or future meeting where we have no board members. So the first item on our agenda this evening are approval not required plans. And we have a first A&R by Oakhill Road, which is create 2 conforming lots identified on the plan. Lot 1, 1.51 acres, and lot 2, 1.4.
I'll try and zoom in as best I can. So Chantel, if you maximize the top right of that black window, it'll get that full screen. Yeah, you should be able to click right there. Yeah. Oh no. There you go. And then you can make if you go over the image on the left, you should be able to make that full screen. If you like hover over the image on the left. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're fine. Well, as the hand raised fall, so we'll get to that in 1 second. I can make my 1 second.
Like there was someone virtual.
Yes. Hold on 1 second. Let me get the first.
So yeah.
We have a Christopher Peretti. Christopher, is this one yours, Oakhill Road?
Yes, this is Chris Peretti, and yeah, this is my project. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Do you want me to walk you through the project?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, so my name is Chris Peretti. I work for Land Design Collaborative in Westboro, Mass. And I'm representing the client Matthew Majikas for this property located at 995 Oakhill Road in Fitchburg. The parcel is located in the rural residential zoning district, and it's shown as MBLU number 11R-8 with roughly 3.91 acres. And so the goal of this A&R is to subdivide this existing parcel into two building lots shown as Lot 1 and Lot 2. The existing parcel has three existing structures on it, and the goal of this plan is to keep all of those structures on Lot 1, and the Lot 2 would be a new building lot.
The frontage requirements for the district. At first, I thought it was a rear lot, but it's not. It's conforming to individual lot.
Yep, I believe the frontage requirement's 175 feet, which both parcels would meet that requirement.
I did want to say, Chris, although it doesn't, I don't think it's your firm, I did want to give a shout out to the surveyor. I think this is one of the nicest survey plans I've seen. So
yes, Ludwig Land Surveying. Yeah, they do a really great job with plan content for sure.
Very nice. So,
Do any board members have any questions?
no,
Looks good.
it's on the desk in front of it. Oh, no, maybe not. Why don't we do this? We only have 3 members here. We'll make a motion to have Chantel sign it. We can't sign it with 3 people.
Right.
Yes. Make a motion to authorize Chantel to sign the A&R for 995 Oakhill Road.
Second that motion.
Motion's been made with the second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed.
You guys do that.
Tom?
Yeah. Aye. Sorry. I didn't know we were doing that.
I got it.
Peter,
Aye.
Alex,
Aye.
Anna,
Aye.
Paula, aye. Our next A&R is 148 Sheldon Road, the portion of.
Sorry, thank you, board members. Sorry, I just cut out there for a second, but thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Thanks, bye.
148 Sheldon Road, to be a portion of land, 2.86 acres from the rear lot. 38.1 acres. The land located at 148 Sheldon Road at 6.21 acres.
Do we have anyone here for that?
Yes.
Perfect. That's pretty straightforward.
Right. Is it just the back portion of the land, the
Exactly. It's open field. I wanted to buffer zone for no future development.
We don't. This doesn't include, there's a pond back there, right? This
This is short of the pond,
I know there were some Concom issues with that. So,
and those are pretty much done.
oh, good.
Haven't been inspected yet.
Excellent. Fantastic. Not that it has to do with the NR. I'll
Any
make,
board members have any questions regarding this plan?
No issues.
make a motion to authorize Chantel to sign the ANR for 148 Sheldon Road.
That motion?
A motion's been made with the second by Peter. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Roll call vote. Paul,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Alex,
Aye.
Amanda,
Aye.
Paula, aye.
No, did you write anything on there? It's usually by vote of the planning board. Did you write something on there? You sent, that's fine. Usually, so I remember in the past, Mike used to do by vote of the planning board at their, I don't know that it matters,
Add that underneath.
but yeah.
Why just
It's just say, yeah, exactly why one person signed it. So say, by affirmative vote of the Fitchburg Planning Board at their May 27th, 2025 meeting. Or that's fine. Okay. Wait for you.
25 Valley Street, we have another A and R. Create two conforming lots as identified on the plan, lot 1, 38,835 square feet, and lot 2, 20,287 square feet. Parcel A, 5,111 square feet, not building a lot, but taking the to the money.
Is someone here for this one? Fantastic. I just have, you just state your name.
I'm David Brochek. I'm the survey manager at GPS.
Perfect. The only question I have for you, and obviously it gets solved by the transfer of parcel A to the abutter, is there really an encroachment of the house onto this lot?
Multiple.
Oh, okay.
The next 4 houses down
Yeah.
all have that same problem.
Okay.
Whoever read the deeds read them incorrectly. They think 90 degrees out and it's 75 degrees. So so it's like a domino thing. This could fix the first, and
Yep.
they get able to fix the next, and so on down the line.
Those weren't, I'm just trying to picture it is this toward the end? These aren't the newer houses that were built, right?
The newer ones are right down here.
Okay.
And this would be the last building lot to come out of that senior
So
parcel.
121, like that's.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Excellent. I have no questions or problems with it.
No issues here.
I think I can't tell the sign of the Valley Street.
Second that motion.
Motion's been made with the second by Peter. Vote for Chantel to sign the A and R. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Roll call vote. Paul?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Peter?
No.
Oh. Alex?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye. Yeah.
Amanda? Amanda?
Aye.
Paula? Aye.
You want Mylars?
You want a scanned copy of this?
You usually keep one
I
copy.
just keep the copy, the hard copy. Need a lot of skills.
Thank you.
This one here.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Not the signed copy, but I give one to the assessors and.
We didn't take any bidders. First one you guys were.
I don't know which one the first.
Bylaw should be.
Oh, right there. Yep.
You take that?
Oh, you signed, did you sign it?
Yes, okay, so it's ready.
Yeah, someone has to record. Thank you.
Thanks to you.
There you go. Wait.
We can't open here. You're not gonna.
Right. We don't have anything underneath minor site plans this evening, but we do have our public hearings, which we have at 9. So first on our agenda is a special permit and site plan review, permit 2023-4 for modification request.
Wait a second. Let's do Mark Fisher first. I said we just wanted to make sure that they know, that hearing anyway. And I wanted to say something about that. So there's no sense of waiting that I'm not here.
We can do that.
Yeah, I think we should.
Regarding further down on our agenda this evening, we have special permit and site plan review. The applicant Mark Fisher proposing a renovation of an existing building for a change of use to mixed commercial 1 unit and 2 residential uses 2 units at the location of 962 Main Street in the downtown business district. Unfortunately, this evening we have limited board members available, so we don't have a quorum enough to hold a special hearing for this application.
Yeah, I just wanted to suggest that particularly because this happened, I'm more than happy to do a site walk. I'd like to see the inside of the building anyway. So between now and next month, that way maybe we can, expedite things in the meantime. Walk through the building, take a look at what we're dealing with. I've been around the outside, but it'd be good to get a feel for the whole thing. Sure. So I don't know if we can find a time.
The board is also waiting for some public comments back from fire department.
After 2 months, we're still waiting.
If not, the board has not received any.
We will, the time limit, so our code requires 60 days for the departments to get their comment in. By the time we have the next meeting, that will have expired. So if there's no comment, if they don't send anything, we can deem it as no comment. So either way, that solves that problem. But like I said, hopefully, and if any other board members want to go, obviously we have 6 other members that are going to hear it. Hopefully, maybe you can coordinate with Chantel and we can figure out a time that works.
Sure.
And if no one else wants to go, I can coordinate with you.
I know we've done this on a couple other of my projects. You said Fridays were best for you then. Are Fridays still good?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more flexible than the rest of the board. I'm self-employed, so I usually say Friday morning because I usually block that time off so they don't have anything. But if Chantel can see if any of the other board members want to go, and if they do, we can probably float you a couple of days and times and then go from there. And if not, Friday mornings work for me. So we can, we can figure out something. At least, like I said, we get some questions out of the way before the meeting, probably.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay.
And you saw all my new drawings then?
I just see them. It's not tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
excuse me, Paul.
yes.
If you guys give me a specific day and time, I can make myself available to join you.
Okay. Well, we'll coordinate. Chantel can coordinate something via email. That's probably the easiest way to do it. You can send us a notes asking who can go or who wants to go, and then we can work on a time from there.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. And thank you for your time this evening. Unfortunately, we didn't pan out on our.
It's slightly unusual. I mean, we do have 5, like I said, we have 5 board members, but we have one that has 3 recused themselves. So it's slightly unusual. We're already down 1 from the get-go. So it makes it a little more difficult, but or 2, but hopefully in June we'll have
I was just going to say, so you are meeting in June then? It's not,
we meet every month. We don't take a month off.
Vacations and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, I can't speak for every board member, but we have a meeting in June. We have a meeting every month. I know the ZB takes August off. Some other boards do, but we meet every month.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Right, back to special permit and site plan review, Speedy Cannabis Marijuana Delivery Operator and Marijuana Courier Establishment requesting modification to allow for the dual use of a service station and cannabis delivery business on the same parcel located at 89 River Street on the commercial district.
Proceed. So
There's nothing changed from our code from the 2013 plan that was submitted before.
So I do have a question about procedures because we don't have a full 7 members tonight. And so that means for this to be passed, all 5 members have to vote in favor of it.
Yes.
All right.
Like to just continue?
Well, I have another question about this. I didn't know if you could have input on the project without those other members being present, or do they have to be present for any conversation?
If we can, you mean if we have conversation, then we continue it and then next month we vote on it? It's possible if we have the Mullen rule, which allows for review of board meeting materials. The people that are absent would have to take it upon themselves to watch the meeting, or I would say read the minutes, but we won't have minutes done by then. So they have to watch the meeting in order to do that. So they can. It's no guarantee that they will. But it's it's an option we afford.
We can also just vote tonight as well. So
But we need all 5 members to vote
we
affirmative.
have 5 members.
Well, what happens if one doesn't want the project?
Well, then you don't get 5.
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
Chance of us continuing now, we can still vote on it and not continue it as well.
Yeah, I realize that, but I didn't know
We have
if,
enough information this evening to make a decision, so we don't.
Unless we wanted to entertain the opportunity to continue.
But that's only if the other board members want to adhere to the Mullen.
No.
yeah, so, and that's what I'm saying is if you have one member this evening who is against it, then it's voted down.
So
I would prefer to be able to go to the next meeting with this with more members. It'd be better for us, but you can't really comment right now though, right? On the project without them, like what you just said.
Right, otherwise it's subject to the Mullen rule and it's whether or not they choose to do it, otherwise we're still stuck.
And they may they may step out of the meeting then because they weren't at this meeting here.
They can still be here. They just couldn't vote on it if they don't watch the meeting.
There again, and then that's
certified to the Mullen rule. Yeah,
and then that's away with the 7 members.
Right. So it's really up to you.
So do you want to hold off until we have more members?
Can we have feedback at least? Or no, that's not possible.
No, because we just talked about that. If we have any feedback, then the members who aren't here have to review the minutes. And they may not want to, and then that means they'll sit out the next meeting, which doesn't help out at all.
And the next meeting would be in June. Correct?
June.
It was June 24th.
You want to hold off then?
Requesting.
Continuance, yes, please.
We haven't opened it, so I guess we did technically just open it.
No, we opened this last week.
Oh, we did. What was our attendance last meeting?
I think you had 6.
So who wasn't here last meeting? Ellen. Okay, and Ellen's not here today. So that leaves Tracy, and just Tracy. Right, just Tracy. So Tracy could join in next month if she's here, and then obviously assuming all the other members are here next month, which I think I'm certain I'll be here, but we'll.
But we could have the situation also next month.
There's never any guarantees. We don't know until the week of. Usually, if someone's last minute, either sick or drops out or.
Tonight we heard just tonight. So.
Yes, yeah.
So if they vote no, or one person votes no, it doesn't go.
If it's voting on the seat, that's correct.
And I take that back. Lynn could watch the meeting minutes from last month because she's only missed one. She only missed one. Then we're not open. We didn't. Are we opening? Is this open right now?
It's open right now.
Okay.
But if we don't discuss anything,
Yes.
she can only be missing one.
Yes. So that was my point, that maybe Elaine can watch the minutes from last month or watch the meeting from last month and then
that'd be better, even better now because if we have.
Certainly if it's possible,
Yeah.
we'll definitely.
I think it'd be better for you. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Were you guys provided with all the information, the letter from FPD?
Did you get a letter? I didn't get a letter. No.
That to you. I did. I just got it this last week. I'll send you the comments and these.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Excellent. All right. Thank you.
You want to make a motion for that?
Yeah.
Make a motion to continue the permanent site plan for the modification request for Speedy Canvas to our June meeting.
Second by Peter, roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed. Peter. Alex.
Aye.
Amanda.
Aye.
Paul, I can barely hear you.
Okay, I don't usually get that.
We can hear you quite well.
Can you hear everyone else?
Yeah.
Oh, Paul, you can hear. Paula, you can't hear.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's I was gonna say, yeah, Paul. I'll try to yell.
All right.
I mean, you can hear Paula, but you gotta really, really, really listen. Like, I put my headphones in
Here we
so
go.
I could hear it and like cancel, did noise cancellation.
That's a good idea. Let's see if my headphones work.
Think about where I should speak.
I think just as loud as you can.
Microphone.
Yeah.
Okay, our next item is special permit and site plan review. The applicant Making Opportunities Count MOC is proposing the demolition of a structure.
Someone needs to mute. Amanda.
Oh, sorry.
And then the new construction of a 7-unit multifamily building with shared parking at 40 Fairmont Street. The site is located at 104 Daniel Street within the neighborhood business district. It is continued from our April 22nd meeting. Was that good?
I was just gonna say, yeah, now we can hear. Yeah, thanks. That's probably hard for you, but
Much better. Thank you.
So good evening, members of the board. For the record, Mark Bornstein. I'm an attorney at the law firm of Princeton Bell, based in Worcester.
Chris Anderson, Handing Engineering. Brian McPherson, Modification Opportunity Council.
Did you give any?
So just as an overview for the planning board, I think Chantel has provided you with some notes, correct, Chantel, to the chair, related to the zoning board of appeals hearing that we had earlier this month. So that board evaluated the application, granted the special permits that were requested, but included it as condition of approval certain requirements associated with the off-street parking. So my understanding from the previous hearing before this board, there was some questions regarding off-street parking and what the arrangement might be. The ZBA has very much directed what that arrangement is going to be based on those conditions of approval. So just to summarize, there's going to be an easement agreement between the two properties. 7 spaces will be designated for one for each unit along the easterly side of the existing parking lot at 40 Fairmont Street. There will be certain obligations associated with maintenance that will be specified in the agreement. So ZBA has required that agreement be reviewed by city solicitor before executed. We're still waiting on the actual decision from the ZBA, but that's generally the substance of the decision. So
Those were like 3 items, pretty much.
there was maybe 5 or 6, but they were all kind of that's generally the
Yeah, I have it on my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was reading them too. It's quite lengthy, so I don't know where you want to go.
Chantel did a great job of taking notes from the ZBA hearing. So if you
just want to see the permit conditions at the bottom. These are the proposed conditions.
Yeah. So again, we haven't seen the actual decision yet, but
right. I shouldn't say that. These are the conditions that were floated because there is no decision yet.
Yeah. So I think this does a good job though of summarizing what the discussion was. So as I said, parking is between 104 Daniels and 40 Fairmont Street. For the 7 designated spaces, 1 for each unit. The 5 remaining spaces, because the proposed use requires 12 off-street parking spaces, even though there's 15 spaces in the lot. They designate those 5 remaining required parking spaces for 104 Daniels to be along that more southerly side of the off-street parking lot at 40 Fairmont. The easement agreement will provide for those maintenance obligations. It will run with the land. Compliance with the planning board's parking determination. So As the board's aware, part of your review criteria associated with the multifamily development special permit pertains to ensuring there's sufficient off-street parking. And as part of this development, we're proposing that shared parking arrangement, which we described at the previous hearing. And then there's some other ancillary comments associated with deliberations by the chair.
I think there was something also in there regarding future development.
Sure.
Moving and parking.
Yeah, so as I think this board's aware, MOC is evaluating other developments in the neighborhood as part of kind of a master plan redevelopment of different sites in the area. This is kind of seen as one piece within a broader vision for the redevelopment, revitalization. So we anticipate that we will soon be filing applications with this board pertaining to some of those developments. And so the hope was that we would give them certain flexibility in terms of providing that off-street parking, provided that off-street parking would comply with your zoning ordinance. So specifically that there's an agreement in place, that all the parking is within 800 feet of the property, all of the requirements that are specified in the shared parking provisions of the zoning ordinance. The ZBA chair and other members of the ZBA felt very strongly that the parking should be fixed at 40 Fairmont Street and that we should return to the ZBA to the extent that we want to modify any of that parking. We understand their position, so that's what we'll have to do.
I think especially because there's a handicap building unit in there as well, that proximity of some parking is rather than 800 feet, kind of essential to be close. Can't accommodate on site.
I have a feeling it becomes much clearer. When we will look at the other projects as well, because I had already seen the conceptual idea of the other projects, and with that other future parking lot, you can stagger parking between 40 Fairmont and the other new park. So you could do like the 80 spots at 40 Fairmont, and then the rest of the parking hopefully in a new lot. So
depending on when you're planning on this development to occur, it would, and I'm not sure against like right with their decision, but the execution of the parking easement, the timing of that, where should that be in order to allow you that flexibility piece of like building the
well, that's exactly
permit, occupancy.
So ultimately,
I'll show you timing.
yeah, so I mean, the timing matters, certainly. So in terms of the execution on the special permit, we certainly can't apply for a building permit before we satisfy that condition. So depending on how we phase the different developments, it might be that if we know that we're going to need that off-street parking area to be a staging area for construction, maybe we delay the request or application for a building permit for 104 Daniels. So, I mean, certainly we need to have that easement in place before we can exercise our rights.
Actually recording an easement that maybe you want to backtrack on. So
yeah. No, I appreciate that.
Be fine at that point, going like between now and that time,
Sure.
be able to figure out whether or not you're going to come back to the boards to modify.
And my expectation is we wouldn't even execute and record an easement until the actual closing on this property. And then again, we might delay that as well. So until we seek to exercise box rights under the permits, we're probably not going to record that.
Okay.
I think with, and I didn't mean to muddy the conversation, but even talking about future development, my only point was, I think it becomes less of a concern if and when we have, other parcels to utilize for parking. However, the parking as approved on this, I mean, I'm fine with how the ZBA did it. It was similar to what we had talked about, designating 7 spots for the, and I apologize, I don't know if when I say we, if I talked about it here or if that was just an internal conversation that Paul and I had, but we had talked about designating at least 7 spaces for this building for 104 Daniels. Right, which is what the ZBA does. Yep. And then the flex spaces for the remainder. I think I said in the last public hearing that, ideally, worst case scenario, you have employees that can park on-street parking in Fairmont or Plymouth or wherever, that are proximate, that where there is, although it's tight, it's a dense neighborhood, there is some on-street parking, especially on Fairmont Street. So at least you have that flexibility where, you can tell your employees where to park. So, you have a possibility there. So I did want to, I guess, reiterate, and I know this doesn't really go far, but for the sake of what we're talking about, what we're doing, especially if there's delays in, construction schedules and all that stuff, I would absolutely think it would be an amazing thing for you to do as a benefit to the city to tear down the building as soon as possible. And I know that there's risks associated with that and there's costs associated with that. However, it would be of tremendous benefit to the city to take the building down, given that it's somewhat of a hazard. So, and to that point, Board of Health, I'm sorry, I'll let you speak in 1 second. To that point, the Board of Health had a public comment. It said, strongly support demo of 104 Daniel Street and the new construction. So, and I think that's the only new comment on this one. I assume last month I read Board of Health comments. I can go back and we don't know if I did. Let me pull them up just to this. Let me pull them up. It might have just been the normal. Hold on, I have it right here.
I don't think they were ready at the last meeting.
All right, let me see. Demolition will require sign off of utility connections from their respective departments and divisions. DPW engineering must verify the termination of sewer and drainage if applicable. All disconnect signatures will be required before a demolition permit can be issued through the building department. That's what Board of Health has. DPW has. And that's the only other comments that I have on this. I still don't, I assume we didn't get our comments on this. That was I guess a permit or a condition that we had discussed, that if we didn't get a response from them, that the permit would be subject to fire department review. I'm a little disappointed we haven't got comment from them, but it is what it is.
That particularly about the setback distance from one to the other one or not. What the minimum really should be there for fire protection, because the other building probably doesn't have sprinklers.
Sure.
Either on either side, but what the alleyway should.
Sure. Yeah. I think that came up at the ZBA hearing, and the architect wasn't available to send this evening, but he confirmed that it's suitable distance from a code perspective.
We actually increased that dimension.
So it's better than what it is now.
Yeah. I think it's like 3 feet. Yeah.
It's in the comments. You wrote down because I read through them. I read that someplace. It was like one from 1.5.
Yeah.
Feet, but I was like, is that satisfactory?
Yeah.
Decision.
According to our architect, it is.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know if you wanted me to, I wasn't going to go through all these notes. Chantel, did you do this?
Yeah.
Fantastic job, by the way. Very thorough. But for the purposes of what we're doing now, unless someone wants to see something specific, I'm not going to read through the 5 pages of it. So,
Do the board members have any questions regarding this application?
I think I'm all set with it.
I'm also going to ask for public comment, but before I ask, Amanda, do you have any questions for the applicants?
No, I'm really excited to see this happen. So, yeah, thanks.
Alex, do you have any questions you'd like?
Nothing for me at the moment. I'm looking forward to see how this turns out.
and for those new people here, I'll just pull up the elevations just so folks can see if there's any public here for this.
One thing I just brought up at the last meeting was just adding some landscaping at 40 Fairmont, just in the frontage there, you know, the area. And traditional striping and signage spots.
Yeah, there's a small island between the parking stalls and the right of way.
Did you have any conversation regarding the sidewalk improvements regarding, yes, that would be the other off street.
So we've evaluated that. And so I spoke with, we discussed that internally and Unfortunately, the costs to develop this project are pretty significant given the number of units. I think it's estimated about $500,000 per unit, which is pretty expensive for a development. And so unfortunately, the budget does not allow for off-site improvements from the parking lot to this building. We conferred with the city of Fitchburg to see if there were funds available city side to contribute, and they weren't able to contribute funds either. So what we're willing to do is work with the city to restripe the crosswalks to improve that pedestrian facility and evaluate as we look at the neighborhood globally, whether or not there's the opportunity for those additional offsite improvements. But unfortunately, this time the budget does not allow.
I think at a minimum, you might have to redo the ADA transitions.
That's what we're talking about.
Because you need, if you're parking across the street, you have to safely be able to get those handicapped individuals from across the street to the building. Sure. So I think, and I'm pulling up the street scenes now, I think I remember there was at least one of them that was condition, but I'm doing this off of last month memory, so I know, I'm going to pull it out first so people won't see me scrolling everywhere. So this, I mean, and what my suggestion is going to be, because we can't decide this now anyway, is we'll talk to DPW and we'll make it a permanent condition that if the AD transitions and access from the building to the parking isn't acceptable, it's the applicant's responsibility. I don't know yet. I mean, that, you know, that they might say that's okay. It doesn't, you know, the biggest problem we had talked about is the going kind of these 90 degrees here. You know, that's definitely not okay.
Right.
There's no way that as someone who drives someone in a wheelchair every day, I can tell you that it would be a nightmare. So we, you know, it might require the tactile strips and new transitions, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I guess we can just make it a permanent condition and then reconvene when we start construction or when we get prior to construction, so that you guys can know what you'll be responsible for.
Yeah. Actually, if you turn back to that one, I'm actually doing some work at 18 Fairmont right now, and I'm going to try to fix that one while I'm doing the work for 18 Fairmont. So
just be cautious. It has to be a city bonded contractor that does work with the public way. Okay. I know, because DPW would say that. I don't work for them, but I know that's the comment they would have. But if you can, great. I mean, I think the only thing we need to be cautious about is, because your parking's across the street, you have to be able to safely get from one spot to the other.
And then, yeah, right there.
Yeah, well, that's not a crosswalk. That's not, are you talking about this right here, the sidewalk?
How they access the parking lot here.
So I think, Chris, is the access at the end of the parking stall, the new access? It's not from here, right?
That's an opportunity for them to access the sidewalk, but it's not intended to be.
And they can also take the sidewalk to the new, to this area. I mean, when I say new, I mean
yeah, no, if they are an alternative to that.
That transition.
So we could just go back to the offsite improvements. We're concerned in terms of the costs associated with that condition. Mm-hmm. That might make the project.
It's just the ramp aspect of it. Seriously. Then you're proposing handicap, then you can't propose handicap. I just want to say it is very, very important to us.
Accessibility is incumbent upon us to make sure that
we can't, you say that, then it's almost, then there should be a parking spot, maybe one on site for the handicap facility, unit.
Well, so I think we're trying to do a couple of things here, right? I think we're not able to have an off-street parking space in front of the building, correct, because of safety concerns. We're trying to provide an accessible unit, which I think is very much in everyone's best interest in terms of the city. We totally understand the desire for improved accessibility. It's just there's quite a bit of journey from the parking lot to the building. And it's been my experience whenever there's improvements being made to the right of way, once you start modifying something, and maybe Chris could speak to this better as an engineer, you just start reevaluating everything. So it's not just, putting in the yellow panels, the warning panels. I mean, you start modifying that right away, you might have to start redoing the concrete. I mean, I frankly don't know what's entailed. And when we showed this to the consultant that's providing the who's working on the application for funding. She said that she was deeply concerned about the costs associated with it.
Well, we need to figure out, then you have to negotiate with the city of Fitchburg to figure out an alternative way to make sure there's safe access from the park. We can't approve a project that doesn't have safe access from the parking to the site.
I mean, so I guess the question would be,
It will be a condition for you to do that.
well, no, that's why I want to have this conversation. I mean, can I just confirm with my client?
Multiple, it's partly our perspective, when we were talking about the sidewalks are pretty much, you know.
I can't believe the placement of that telephone pole.
Yeah, it's right in the middle, huh?
That's terrible, but.
We didn't even say sidewalk reconstruction. We're talking about the transitions.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I guess my concern is I've seen the transitions turn into additional portions of the sidewalk. And I'm just concerned about what that might entail in terms of the costs. So, I mean, from what I'm hearing from the board, it sounds like this requirement is because we have an accessible unit.
Well, I think it's because your parking is across the street. I think any private project we would approve would require safe pedestrian access from the building to the parking lot. I think if this were truly a private development, meaning for profit, we would require sidewalks to be done and transitions to be done.
I mean, I guess my perspective is, while this is a new development, it is 7 units. So this is from if this was maybe a 20, 40 unit development, I could see the.
It's still not a big ask. It's not really negotiable. You are going to do it's part of the project to be safe pedestrian access. That's part of it. You're proposing off-site parking. That's part of it. So you're going to have to work with DPW in order to try to make this happen in the city to make that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
otherwise, you're getting the pretty much the city's giving you the property. It's like, should they hope? I don't want to do any negotiations about that, but it's like we're working together to make an improvement here.
Certainly.
So we all want to work hand in hand for that. And this is extremely, I'll say minor. And when we're looking at a lot of project and development side, but this is pretty essential for safe pedestrian access to argue over.
It's a possibility that, you know, like I said, I think that it's a standard permit condition. There's nothing atypical about it. It's a very standard permit condition. So I think that if it is an issue with the feasibility of this project, that if the city knows, meaning the mayor's office and the DPW know that it's going to be a requirement of the development, and it might be a conversation you can then have about, you know, you need to work with them, or if the city says we can't do anything about it, then you need to figure out other partners to be able to solve that problem, whether it be a grant or.
I guess that's my concern is we've already had that initial conversation. I anticipated this conversation and these comments were coming based on the previous hearing. So I had that conversation with the city, and the determination was they could do some striping, which is lower dollars. But in terms of modifications to the right of way, that was not deemed something that the city had funding for. So, I mean, given that we're paying $500,000 per unit, I hear you. It's going to be pretty significant.
So the other question then becomes, and I, you know, it's unfortunate we don't have an answer here, and only because I didn't know to ask the question, is if we were to ask DPW, can DPW certify that these transitions are safe and adequate, and that the city won't be on the hook for city having to come up with funds, which we don't have to do that. If they say that, then it might be a non-issue. If they say something needs to be done, then it has to be the developer.
You're increasing the density. There's a lot of gives here between the off-site parking, only asking for 7 spaces instead of 12 dedicated spaces. I mean, there's a lot that have been, you know, trying to work with you on this, and this is really important. And
no,
retrospect things, you know, you're spending $500,000 per unit. Say that was even $5,000 worth of work.
Wow.
But even so, 15 or 50 on the millions of dollars this project is going for that.
I get it. I guess my concern is, and I'm not the consultant who does the funding, we're applying to state agencies for this funding. So it's not as if this is a for-profit entity that will be able.
Then it's important to have the condition in there to say that it actually gets covered.
It's also important that we treat everyone the same. It really is. I mean, it's incumbent upon us to treat all applicants on a similar, spectrum. We just had a similar situation with Newview with their BF project, and because things weren't worded ideally, we had some hiccups at the end of that. But they did a lot of sidewalk repair. They're a nonprofit. They did transitions and curb cuts, and that was all part of that
multifamily development.
Yeah, it's a 50, 60 unit development. But
yeah, I mean, there's more when it's 50, 60 units. Sure. You bake a little bit more into the cost. Sure. So I just don't want there to be a condition that we're not able to commit to it, and then we're going to have to return to this board.
Decide that when you come to it. So it's like you're looking for that. It's like you would not be granting this permit without having that condition. You can either work with that, figure it out. Always request to come back for modification, but otherwise it's kind of like you can give your homework. We'll give you some options, and you can work with the city whether or not there's any funds there or any other partners to do it. But it is necessary to have them evaluated. And
is it possible to scale back the unit, the project 1 unit, and go to 6 instead of 7?
I mean, I think that would render the project feasible, honestly. I mean, we need as many units as possible. Right. I mean, the expectation is that we would like to have the accessible unit for providing that additional accessible unit for the community, for the potential residents. Would the offsite improvements be required if there wasn't an accessible unit on the ground?
Yes.
Well, it's
even more so.
I was gonna say it's definitely particularly because of accessibility. In my mind, and I'm not speaking from me. In my mind, but actually I just stopped sharing the screen. But the one that I had up, I still have on my screen. If we approve a project with something like this, with knowing that the only way to park there is across the street, and you allow someone to traverse that. Now, I love the idea that you might do it with your existing project anyway, but let's say we don't make it a condition and it never gets done. And someone in a wheelchair either can't get across the street, or that causes them to fall into the street, or they then can't go that way, so they're crossing where there isn't a crosswalk. That's something we can't have happen. And if it's not done by the applicant, and the city can't do it, then we made a decision that wasn't in the best interest of the city, knowing that no one's going to be able to do it. So if the city has said no, we can't do it, which it's the type of thing where they could put it on their list and it could get done 5 years from now or 10 years from now or whatever, without knowing that it's something that the city's willing to take on, we have to put it as a permit condition, because it's the only way to make sure that once this beautiful new building gets built, you can safely get to it.
So maybe we could talk about what that proposed language would be in the condition. We have that conversation.
Yeah. So what I had said originally was repair cracks. Now we have to talk about this, and we can specifically identify them. We can. I don't know if it's the type of thing where we can't identify them physically here, but the way I had it before was repair cracks in the sidewalk to the point where they're, you have misaligned sidewalks, meaning I don't know if any are, but if you have a situation where, a wheelchair or someone impaired can't get from one point of sidewalk to another point of the sidewalk, sure, then that would have to be fixed. And then, like I said, this transition, I think I specifically noted a couple months ago when we talked about this, where, you probably almost certainly need a new tactile and ADA transition there. And then I guess, so
could we, if I may make a suggestion, could we have a condition that says applicant is required to ensure a reasonably suitable route for pedestrians, and I don't want to say accessible route because that's a totally different animal, but basically the kind of the gist is that we provide a suitable route acceptable to DPW from the parking lot to the building. So that way DPW can evaluate, we can work with our engineer. So that way we're not saying you're going to repair the cracks, because they might say, you know, we don't need to actually repair it. We could do this thing instead, and that will provide that accessible route. I just don't want us to be boxed in.
Yeah, and there's no reason for us to go back and forth anyway, because we're not going to know the specifics. You're right. I think engineering, I think that the condition should state something along the lines of the applicant is responsible for safe pedestrian access from the parking lot to the new building at 104.
It's ADA.
You're right, exactly. Well, so, and we can definitely make that a point of emphasis for engineering, particularly for those. This transition's difficult, and I know to what you were saying earlier, when you start digging, like a property like a situation like that could be terrible, because to make that grade, you might have to go.
I had this issue occur on another project where we had 185 units. And we still couldn't make it viable because of the pitch and the way there was a cross pitch between.
We just dealt with that at the other project I was talking about, the Newby project, where they ended up having to flare pavement because it was the only way to get everything right, in line. So like I said, without going back and forth, I think that that's the safest way to do it. Say that, DPW engineering is going to have the ultimate say as to making sure that pedestrians can safely get from the parking area to 104 Daniel Street, and any improvements are the responsibility of the applicant. So, and then, like you said, that way we don't have to just pick it everything all day long.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
Yeah, because who knows?
Again, allows you opportunity to work with the city and to the evaluation and stuff. So.
Yeah, and it makes it look like the board is doing their job when we're not. Yeah, the biggest thing, we don't want to cause a situation where there's an accident and it's like, oh, No, how could the sidewalks look like that? Well,
we fully understand that. We fully appreciate the intent behind the suggestion. It's just where you can appreciate we're looking at every dollar right now. Very concerned about the viability.
Yeah. And I can tell you, me, like I said, I don't want to speak for the board or the city, but me personally, I'm itching to have that building taken down. And I would love to see this beautiful new building that you have be put up there. But at the same time, we got to check.
It only looks like a spot, like in between, like where the, front of the other house there. Sidewalk. I've been a tree.
I don't think police wants parking on Daniels. It's a dangerous part.
Talking about the sidewalk.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about.
There's a couple of spots where it might have looked like the trees.
Right. I think the bigger issues.
Well,
barrels being put in the wind.
That there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, aside from that, accessing the parking lot, I'm perfectly fine with everything else. I think the building looks beautiful. Like I said, very excited for the project to happen. I think that, from the get-go, I think I was okay with the fully Fairmont parking situation anyway. I think it's like you had said, it's better than what's there now either way. When that building was in existence, they had no parking. Right. So I think that it's a step in the right direction, and I think it'd be nice for the neighborhood.
And it's nice to see that you have some future plans.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean this is hopefully the first step in a like I said, revitalization of this area. And so by providing this additional housing stock, the hope is that we'll really be able to stabilize this portion of Lower Peckham.
You got a lot to work with.
We're working on it. We got a lot of plans. So.
Well, we appreciate that. Is there anybody virtual that has some comments? Project.
I have one hand raised. Jake Zapata. Jake, you're unmuted if you want to speak.
Hey guys, how's it going? Jake Zapata here. Hey, just wanted to just chime in really fast. We're happy to talk with the developers offline. We kind of have a plan for something like this and could show you kind of how to do it financially feasibly. So whether we do it or somebody else does it with our construction company, we know we got to be bonded with the city. So just wanted to offer that so that no one gets spooked about cost. So if you guys want to talk offline, we're happy to do that and kind of figure out a solution to if you kind of can't get past the roadblock with the city. Just saying.
Thank you, Jake. Jake is a private developer that's working on a lot of projects on Main Street.
Great. Jake.
What's the name of the company?
So,
Yeah.
Jake, remind me, what's the name of your company?
We're on the agenda today. I think Watch Us Grow. So if you'd like Watch Us Grow, also, Paul, I think you have my email or contact information too. If
I do. I
anybody-
can write it down and give it though.
yeah, just wants to just kind of hand it over to them. We're happy to chat about it. So it's not a roadblock. We want to see it happen as well. We believe in that area as well. So let's just remove the roadblocks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have a card or piece of paper or something? I only have non. I'll write his number on my card. Oh, sorry. Check all my laptop equipment.
Timeline?
So, I mean, it's all comes down to funding, unfortunately. So the hope is we have a first sale agreement with the city. Hope is to move forward with the purchase next few months. And the funding hopefully within the next year or plus. But it depends on kind of the phasing of the different developments.
So
name and number.
MGL updates, the special permits are now 3 years to get go. So instead of 1.
Your bylaw, your ordinance has been specified.
That's specified, but general
state has
law,
no-
the state overrode that in November.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Oh, that's
Well, yeah.
To your earlier point, Paul, we don't want to take possession of the building. And we want to take it down.
Well, I'm sure as soon as you own it, the liability clock gets ticking.
Exactly. So we want to take it down. I literally had demo contractors out there looking at it again today. So we want to take it down as soon as we take possession. But I know we're not talking about the other projects today, but we definitely want options of how we can sequence the work, get the biggest bang for our buck.
Right.
So that is a real conversation that's going on right now.
Yeah, so you can have the trades go from one building to the next.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Sometimes it's like we don't want to prevent you, this should prevent you from like a demo permit type of a thing. And we can also work off of occupancy permit versus pulling up a building permit. Pulling the building permit, then how much time that take you to make that change. It's like any offsite improvements things to be done also prior to first occupancy.
Okay. Yeah. No. If
So
we
give you more
that would be helpful
to address it.
Yeah. No, that's helpful.
So the 3-year window is from when to when?
The 3-year window begins with the recording with the city, this decision with the city clerk.
Day appeal period.
Getting a building permit?
To commence construction,
Exercise your rights under the special permit.
yeah, actually start.
Break ground, start doing stuff, yeah.
And I'm sure you know this because you're an attorney, but I cannot be overstated before the special permits when you can get it, because a lot of people don't, and it's a big issue we have. So make sure it's recorded.
Yeah, and I'll send a copy to Chantel.
Perfect.
And then typically then I'd say that like even then a year to complete. So it's like 3 years to start. I'd like to have a completion date and not have 10 years out. You know.
Right. No, that makes sense. I think the ZBA had like a year check-in or something.
They do reviews, so we don't.
Yeah, that was unique. I've never seen that before.
Yep. But yeah, so to our point, we'll have, start within this date, finish within that date. If you don't finish within that date, you can ask for extensions. It's just a way to keep developers honest, especially when we have situations where, they start something and it just languishes. They're not going to happen.
I understand that.
Yep.
So do you have any other questions, or you just want to let on the decision to
Sure.
let you know about those components?
Sure. Appreciate that.
I had nothing else. I had no other conditions. I mean, just fire department review was one of them. And then the wording that I said and didn't write down a minute ago about the applicant is responsible for safe pedestrian access from the parking area to the building. But however you want to word it, including safe ADA access, safe physical access,
Right.
whatever it would be exactly, because that is that is one of the primary purposes of this, obviously.
As reasonably determined by
Yep.
What else have that's right now. So just mimic and incorporate the ZBA's portions of the easement agreement.
Oh, yeah, and that was the other thing that I didn't bother mentioning, but I was agree with Christine. We had talked in the past about making sure that that the permanent needs recorded. It says that at definitive time are always problematic in brackets. So I appreciate the ZBA handled it that way.
You and again, just like that, the regular landscape design and striping is really not that much. Existing parking.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
A motion's been made to close the hearing. All those in favor say.
Give me a second.
I'll second.
I think so. Wait, second by Peter. Motion's been made to close the hearing with the second by Peter. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Roll call vote. Paul.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Alex.
Aye.
Amanda.
Aye.
Amanda.
Aye.
Paula. Aye. Somebody's got on.
It's just Amanda's got some reverb going on. She logs on.
All right. Discussion.
Yeah, so unless anyone has anything, I'm ready to make a motion. And like I said, just the permit conditions we had just said. I know if you remember when last time we met at this meeting, it was very hard to hear when you watched it again afterwards. So I don't know if you wrote them down just now, great. I did not. So Paul, good.
Before you make your motion, just want to make sure that we're including the site plan review, special permit, and the 50-foot buffer.
So that's a waiver.
Yes.
Yep. So that'd be.
I just want to make sure that's incorporated.
We'll include it in the wording. It would be inherent in the decision by us approving a special permit, but it should be noted in the decision.
I want to make sure that
it was a good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
And the density.
No, we didn't do density. ZBA does density.
That'll be the next one.
Right. We started a new building. Make a motion to approve the special permanent site plan for making opportunity count for a 7-unit multifamily building with shared parking at 40 Fairmont Street at the building center located in Daniels, subject to the conditions that we have to expect. I did second.
Alex, you want a second?
Second that motion.
Okay, Peter, then thank you.
You get a chance.
I was having trouble with the mouse.
Yeah, that's okay.
You gotta be quick.
Yeah.
Which is
Use you lose.
been made with the second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Roll call vote. Paul.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Alex.
Aye.
Amanda.
Aye.
Paula. Aye. Thank you.
Much.
And although I'm kind of moving briefly and everything worked out smoothly there, I would have just mentioned that I know Chris the applicant, representing the applicant for this one, just mentioned that it's the supermajority, so you need 5 of 5. Okay, just wanted to make sure everyone's aware before we get to the point where we're voting.
Yes, so this, well, our next one, yes, so that also is continued, but then we bring in the trail.
Yes.
From our last meeting, and this one is definitely going to be continued, only because just submitted today, and we need to park all kinds of computer work out.
There's a lot to be said on that one, so.
What things you want to move forward with it.
Yes, please.
So let me read this for everyone. This is a special permit and site plan review. The applicant wanted is proposing the renovation of a structure from a single family. Not just about to a duplex on one, in addition to subdivide lot and build one other. Because a commercial unit with a location of 990 South Street within the neighborhood.
Correct. Yes. So, Lawyer Chris Anderson, Planning Engineering. We prepared this conceptual layout just to review with the board. I know just to bring the board back up to speed on it. At the last meeting, it was directed towards us that a full residential development was not in the board's interest to have done due to the fact that this is a very commercial corridor within Fitchburg. So we reevaluated the site
And tonight, what we're just pretty much looking for is, does this fit with the intent of what the board is looking for the development? And from that point on, we'll definitely have to proceed progress these plans to a full development submittal. These are nowhere near that level, but it's just for conversation purposes, just so that everybody's on the same page on that.
I couldn't find where the lot size is proposed here, so I have no idea what this residential lot size is.
Is this going to be like a mixed condo, mixed commercial, 2-unit condo? Is there going to be a separate lot for those 2 units?
Correct. Yes. So
Okay, it's a lot line. See,
yeah. So the residential property would be a dedicated only residential property.
but what's this?
I'll double check that, but I do know that that line is drawn to be zoning compliant.
Do you know what the total size of the lot is?
That's
an unfair question. Let me.
You can scroll to the upper right corner there.
I was going to say, because I can look into GIS too. Okay, so it's 16,500 square feet existing, and that is NBD, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But it abuts all rural A, and you also need a 10-foot buffer, like in between, unless it's really rural A. So it's like when you're, no, it's NBD, but it's really, the idea was that the whole parcel is NBD, and now you're proposing residential. I just mentioned that it's RA there, so in looking what the lot sizes are there, they would need to like mimic the lots, at least mimic the lot sizes that are there, but it's 12.5, I think. It's for the RA.
Right, but I'll double check that.
But the lot sizes might be a little bit smaller that are around there, so minimally should at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's
the lot, like some of the surrounding lot sizes. But then also we talked about, you're proposing a duplex, which is not really. Or unless you're finding other duplexes around, like why a duplex? If it's not, nobody else is a duplex there, but also we could also be looking at it with the new ED piece.
Yep.
Maybe just smaller second wing, which is close on the same parcel.
I do want to say personally, I like the idea. I like the idea of a new building. I like the idea of getting rid of. It's not to say keep the building in terrible condition, but it's a weird building. It used to be a gas station years ago, and it would be very nice to have a new commercial building on South Street. I personally am not against residential units to the rear. Obviously Paula has valid points about, is it saleable, saying, if you look in that neighborhood, how many of them are 2-unit buildings, even though these are going to be condos, I assume, going to be sold separately. It's a possibility in my mind. It's a possibility. But I do like the idea that we'll be a new commercial building and we'll be adding housing stock to this. So my 2 cents. This is the zoning map. So it's obviously MB.
So other things you look at for that is, on this proposed property line between the commercial and that residential is putting another buffer in there. The whole point is maybe not as much, it would be some type of buffer fence along where the property line is butters, but also important when we're looking at a commercial property abutting residential, we want to make sure there's a buffer in between there. They'll be sold separately. So we want to make sure that there's that commercial parking lot, business. So you get some fencing in there, landscaping between. That was done also further up the street. Yeah.
So this is the view from the house behind it down towards South Street. So right now these trees are there, and I'm sure almost all of them will be gone because you probably need most of them to get out of the way for construction, if not all of them. So we would certainly need, regardless of what's put there, we would certainly need some sort of, tree and or fenced buffer between that abutter, especially because I'm sure those property lines come up close when people think they went into the woods.
So it's required to be 10-foot buffer. Right. Actually, the woods here. Which that line, so it could be just leaving trees.
Yeah, but even 10 feet of trees, you'd be surprised how little that ends up being.
10 feet of tree doesn't really equate to too much, unfortunately. No, we have taken consideration into the buffer zone issue for the separation from the RA properties. As part of this,
It'd be interesting to see how it fit. I'd have a comment, I'd have to get a week comment from BW engineering as well as just making sure that the corner of the building, you've got that 20 feet, got that view here. Sight distance, exiting the street.
And we'll reevaluate that as well.
Yeah, those trees might not be, I mean, I know they're just, but those trees might be problematic.
And also that the end of the building that's facing South Street doesn't look like the end of the building.
Right.
Yes, they want,
Which is easy.
more architecturally active.
Yeah, you can make it, presented as the front facade, so you're not looking at kind of a blank. I mean, the parking lot, I think it makes sense. It has to be away from Pinard. So, I understand why it's on that side. The building, depending on what DPW says, might have to get tweaked a little bit, but I think it's a good use of a lot.
Piece in the lot there. I mean, I like that, and I do like the landscaping and that kind of pushes the building back slightly, also to improve that sight distance when there is a big street, and also minimizes commercial traffic on.
Yeah, that's why I want to try to keep those.
South Street. I mean, you could look at it opposing to be like, well, less traffic up South Street, but it's a commercial business right off South Street, so it should be accessible. But it also seems the driveway access is that greater than 50 feet from the intersection.
Yep. So that was a conversation that Bill Hannigan and I did have at depth. Was trying to figure out how to make the driveways work. Ultimately, effectively closing off the broad open expanse and shoving, for lack of a better term, the commercial driveway to the far corner so you can get plus 50 feet away from the right of way. It separates residential and commercial traffic from one another so they're not interfering with one another, because at least in our experience, that's where things go awry, for lack of a better term.
What's the pavement? Is that the edge of pavement that's the shaded under?
So the shaded area is what we proposed. The edge of pavement, coming from the corner of Bernard, kind of.
It runs kind of. So you'll have to touch because I think the street's so far from the edge of their right of way. The right edge of the right of way is far from the edge of the street. I think that's why it looks the way it looks on this.
Well, that's why I'm just looking at the depth of the parking.
Well, I assume when you draw them, I mean, obviously all the space will be 19 feet at least. So
plus your 3 feet from your.
Plus the 3 feet and everything like that. Yeah.
I think your garage bays as the requisite square footage of
the 11. Yeah, that number.
Exactly. And a couple things I would just say about, if you guys decide to proceed with it, where lot 1 is the commercial lot. You probably want to tuck in at least one more space to the right there where that tree is. I can tell you we ran into a problem just 3 lots up when we approved the site that I think it was Steve Moses, the blue 3-story commercial, and they have parking issues there some days. And they have a much bigger parking lot, and they have a lot of tenants there too, but they park on whatever the side street is between Partners in that building. They kind of tucked it in when they did the site plan. Anyway, they needed more. They occasionally need more parking than they have, and they probably have 20 spaces on site. So, but your buildings are going to be at least a third the size. So I don't think it's that big a deal, but it's something you just might want to see if you can maximize the parking. Plus, you'll probably have to push it back a little bit so that you can get a dumpster in that back left or middle location somewhere, so you don't take up any of those parking spaces.
Okay. I mean, you got visitor parking spaces.
Right. I think there is. With the garage parking, I think the parking's sufficient if the board's okay with that. And again, I think I'm okay with it personally, being the way this is. Obviously, there's a lot of tweaks like Paul had mentioned that we need to iron out if that's the case. Plus, as you know, once we start getting public comment, if someone shows up, then that can influence, some things. You don't want a situation where, a neighbor says, oh, that's an issue with drainage or an issue with my view or whatever else, things that we need to hash out. But generally speaking, I think this is a very very good reuse site. So, my 2 cents.
You have any comment?
Well, I'm real pleased that this is being developed. I mean, it's just a great location on South Street. And what's there right now is certainly doesn't do the site justice. So whatever can be done there to improve it to the maximum, I think is a great idea. I love the site. I mean, you travel up South Street and see nothing but ledge. And this is a great flat, beautiful lot, so it's got a lot of potential.
That'll be the question.
I was gonna say, they're gonna have some issues because they're digging into the hill. If you look at that right hand side, they have a hill there. That's gonna be tough.
Yes. No, it's acknowledged that ledge. It's Fitchburg.
Yeah.
Everywhere is ledge.
Well, you can just look on the other side of the street.
What they did up the hill.
Right, yeah.
I love it.
Alex, do you have any feedback? Amanda? Okay, Alex, I think feedback.
Oh, I'm happy with the changes that have been made, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Now I can.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with how this looks.
So we'll progress the plans, get it to a level that's actually appropriate for an actual conversation, and we'll go from there.
Probably need at least months. Do you want to keep it on for June?
I'm just keep it on for June.
Let us know, at least try and let us know beforehand.
Yeah, no, I won't.
2 weeks ideally, so we can not put it on our agenda if we don't have to.
We need the elevations. We'd also ask you to certainly reach out to the abutter, just directly right there about the project.
Let's plan for June. I'm trying to stay away from July because I will. My wife's expecting her second, so I won't be around.
Yeah.
And the due date's probably right around when this meeting would be. So I'm hoping to get everything as wrapped up as soon as possible.
Perfect. Make a motion to continue to our June meeting.
Second that motion.
Motion's been made with the second by Peter to continue to our June meeting. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Paula? Aye.
Thanks, Chris. Do you have any more?
Right up after this one.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Right.
You remember that. You're good. Okay.
Your Crawford?
Yes.
Next on our agenda this evening, we have site plan approval modification. The applicant's Fitchburg Land Property Owner LLC requests a modification of an approval from October 25th, 2022 for warehouse distribution center located at 0 Crawford Street and 0 Airport Road in the industrial zone. I have questions that I had forwarded to the office about the revisions, which I couldn't. Sorry.
So just for the record, Chris Ayers with Hanning Engineering. Here for the site plan modification for 0 Crawford /0 Airport Road. Just to bring the board up to speed on this project, if you will. This was originally approved back in 2022 for 367,000 square foot warehouse building that's going to be located partially in Fitchburg, partially in Lunenburg. Because of the dual municipality aspects of everything, we have filed with the Lunenburg Planning Board in conjunction with the city departments. Since the original approval, the applicant has been doing the initial geotechnical review in order to actually build the structure itself. During that process, it was found that the northern half of the site is filled with deleterious materials, which would be a significant cost to remove from the property in order to construct the actual building. So there's been some back and forth with the FRA, Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority, and the applicant to reduce the scope of the project in order to purchase the more favorable land in order to construct the building on. With that being said, the proposed structure is going to be approximately 183,500 square feet, so about half the original size. Access to the site will continue to be utilized both Airport Road and Crawford Street, with the Airport Road entrance, aka the one closer to the National River, being dedicated to exclusively employee and traditional vehicle access, and the Crawford Street site being entryway being dedicated to exclusively truck traffic for the rear loading area. The general location of the building and the parking configuration has remained generally intact from the original approval. Only noted exception is that relative to the driveways, because of the overall decrease in the traffic generated from the site, we're able to eliminate the dedicated left and right-hand turn exit lane. So now it's just one exit lane for the site for both pedestrian, passenger, and truck traffic. Same configuration to the loading area being on the Lunenburg side of the line, closer to the Baker Brook, and the parking configuration as shown. Based on the required parking, because we are looking at both Fitchburg and Lunenburg regulations, everything meets compliance. If it was to be dropped in Lunenburg, it would be fully dropped in Fitchburg. We need 184 spaces based on the Fitchburg zoning. We're providing 192, so in excess of the required zoning.
Out of curiosity, what did Lunenburg require?
A lot less.
Okay. Because I was only curious because they don't have a lot of large scale industrial buildings. So
they do, but it's, I think on Lunenburg, 60 spaces.
Yeah.
So substantially less.
The question about the dedicated turn lanes, I don't disagree that I don't think you necessarily need them, especially because if they're going to queue, they're going to queue on site anyway. So I'm not all worried about it. If the FRA is able to, I think long term, the hope is get grants, remediate the site in the rear, have another project back there, hopefully. That can be, do they have the ability to redo that access, or is it on your property entirely?
So they do have an accessible strip that goes along the National River. And if the opportunity arises, the driveways and stuff have all been designed to accommodate.
I think my question might not have been exceptionally clear. Are they retaining easements over your that access strip that runs down all the way to Airport Road?
Yeah, my understanding is there's cross easements for drainage access between all entities.
And the only other thing I would suggest to that point, if it's not written in the access easement, is the right for a future tenant either of this building or of the rear FRA parcel to be able to add, width or turn lanes if other tenants demand it, meaning to the right of that where we originally had the left and right turn lanes, to be able to add that in the future. And I think that's somewhat problematic because it's on your site. We don't know how we solve that. I just don't want a situation in the future. You have, let's say, the same building in the rear, another 180,000 square feet. I don't think they're going to create a new access along the National River just because of cost and proximity and everything else. So if they use this, it then might back up onto your site. So I think it's for everyone's benefit to retain the ability to have, future property owners be able to widen the width of that access on them. So and that's more of a thought. I don't think that's a permanent condition. That's more of just a thought. I think that will benefit both you and the FRA.
We did provide an updated traffic memo, which I'll go over in a moment. Relative to the general utility connections, same configuration for the sewer system tying into the site, just upgrading of the siphon drain that goes underneath the National River. Same water configuration. Relative to the drainage system, because we dropped everything by half, the drainage system locally has dropped in half as well. Still utilizing an underground storage system in the rear parking lot or rear truck loading area. That directs runoff to 2 infiltration basins that will be located along the National River. These have been designed in series to help mitigate stormwater flows and provide compliance with the stormwater ordinance. I will say that we have been in front of the Conservation Commission in Fitchburg And we did receive an amended order of conditions. So conservation has done their review and it's found the impacts appropriate. That being said, I will dive more into the traffic. We did provide a traffic revised memorandum by VAI. And effectively, like everything else, everything gets in half. And we are proposing a couple modifications to the conditions relative to the summary parts of the traffic improvements. Most of them are kind of wrapped into one another, specifically our road safety audit for a couple of the intersections. They're already being reviewed for traffic signal timing and everything like that, so it's a little bit more for that in the future. And those were included in the memorandum itself. I understand there was a question relative to the paragraph of the memo, and that was rectified. It was just a carryover project. So I did get that revised late this afternoon and did send it over, but that was the only modifications of that.
As I'm seeking feedback from DPW and whether or not the original traffic study we had, whether or not we can go back to DPW. We asked for these one other to say that's an appropriate division of the modify it.
We have not received any comments from any of the departments yet.
I think we might have specifically asked them because I think the implication was they had looked at it. So I'm just.
I made the comment, but I don't know if it got folded into that. So let's, we want to get some specific feedback regarding those divisions. To see if we can fold that. Other questions I had about the site were trash.
Yeah, so trash would be accommodated with dumpsters in the truck loading area. They were mistakenly omitted from the plan, but that's the intent of the location so that each user has a dumpster in the back portion of the site, so it's easily accessible.
So the right side of the building?
Yeah, the right side of the building. We can accommodate the EV capable ready spaces on the site. Yeah, but we can add those onto the site plans.
This is kind of like the review part was like, we know you need them. We want to make sure you know you need them.
Yeah.
In order to making sure that you're, when you're doing your utility layouts and everything, that you're putting in conduits and everything in where maybe.
Just as an aside, the one suggestion, because I know the building commissioner had mentioned this to me recently, that maybe they not show up on the plan because the actual physical locations of them when you build this might be, if you have to shift one parking space or if you need to move one because of where you do the conduit, if they're on the site plan, you need to get a new site plan. So because obviously they approve the final approval, they look at the site plan, they look where everything is. We had issues in the past where and I could be a little bit off on the way he explained it to me, but it was something to the effect of the number of spaces were in a permit decision and the number of spaces built were different than the number of spaces in the permit decision. So that caused problems. So my point was, I think from the planning board to say provide EV spaces, I don't think they need to be shown on the plan, and I don't think the number needs to be in the permit. They're to code.
The number, but you know, you're accommodating the code requirement.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
that's exactly what I'm saying. Just so we don't have conflicting numbers when they start doing math, and they and they get on the site. So just saying EV compliant spaces to be provided to code,
compliant with code and subject to final design and location.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that when these final sign-offs, it's the nitpicky things that have been tedious the last year or so, and I just want to make sure we iron them as much as we can.
The other piece is just also whether or not it's required or not, or it's part of that. Yeah, like the code, but we put in the truck parking storage that with the advancement now, we don't know anything else having to do EVs. That you might want to consider having some type of charging area in the truck.
No, that was a question that meant to get a hold of the applicant.
Accommodate for that.
Yeah.
Might be really good feature to have. I think we just in there.
We can take a look at the EV code for that, if there's a code for an EV truck, if you will.
But even if there isn't, it might be an attractive
Feature.
to have.
Yeah. We can look into that.
Do they have, Paula had mentioned, and I don't disagree with her that, obviously we just want to make sure DPW is okay. And I know there's been some comment that we have with your EVTF or whatever it was when we had met previously, but that there was an inclination maybe to just, if DPW is unsure, to have whoever did time bond or whoever did the original peer review to look at the letter and say, yes, this letter makes sense, or no, it doesn't. Are there significant time constraints other than as soon as possible that this developer has?
Obviously, as soon as possible is the preferred method. We still have to go in front of Bloomberg Planning for their input. From their perspective, not much has changed. It's based on the last go around, they kind of looked fortunately to you guys on the direction, because this is definitely more of a Pittsburgh project than a Lunenburg project. So I know there's a couple of line items that we review, and obviously traffic is a big concern. So we're reaching out to DPW to see if they're comfortable with the revisions that we outlined in the traffic improvements. Definitely, understandable.
Yeah, so I would, if you want to expedite this, if you want to spearhead it, I would touch base with Ryan in engineering, or Nick, and make sure that it's on their radar. And then if I don't know if you want to mandate the time bond, or I don't know if we did the
Interim, we can get a quote from, look at it.
I mean, they'd just be reviewing the memo because they've already reviewed the.
Yeah, they'll look at the memo in the last traffic study. Carolyn.
If DPW warrants it to be on their purview.
Right. Like, well, I realize we've got a lot of construction activity going on. Some maybe some aspects have already been addressed last night, with a different perspective on it, on the scope.
Yeah, the one that really stuck out was Bemis and Airport Road. That light. I know we talked about signalization improvements there, but that it's fine. But in the long term, probably going to have some significant queuing issues beyond what it has now at high peak times. So as long as the traffic consultant says that they agree with what's written in there, I'm fine with it.
Another piece is landscaping. I'm just specifically asking about landscaping at Crawford Street entrance. See that there.
We can add additional landscaping there. Augmented.
It's going to be all grass, at least on this plan.
Everything will be predominantly grass. We are showing some landscape trees around the parking lot areas to provide compliance with Lunenburg's regulations. So we can look at adding additional landscaping primarily at the entrances to clean it up a little bit.
So we want it to look good, like down. Whatever signage you're going to put in front of it. Where you're going to put the signage. And also, I noticed, so the truck parking area, like right there, didn't have anything about, there's no guardrail or anything. On, like, there's a slope area, so.
Yeah, so there's a 10-foot shoulder between the drop off and the slope. So there's sufficient space for them to control themselves. These are that storage area is going to be dedicated more for professional people operating the site on a daily basis rather than the guy driving down the highway. So it's going to be a lot more controlled, if you will. So that's why we didn't deem that truly necessary. But it's noted. Concern is noted.
That because these ones that we put even like some shrubs or something along that borderline.
Something a little bit more permanent.
Right, so it just doesn't look like you just drive off down the hillside, just some form of either a natural barrier or another type of physical barrier.
I mean, the one comment I would have there is if an 18-wheeler is going off there, I don't even think a guardrail is going to stop it. So,
The old college try.
yeah, well, yeah, it's a good point. I wasn't taking anything away. I was just saying, yeah.
You know, fry alarm, people being back up, you know, cameras now.
Yeah.
Backing up forward or going forward, so that there's something you know how far you're going.
When is the Lunenburg planning board? Even if you're ballpark it, like a week.
I want to say next.
Okay.
First meeting.
Within the next month.
Definitely
So
within
before our next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious. I don't expect anything substantial, but if there is, you can just tell us, just so we know. Not that it matters because obviously you'll have to abide by what they write anyway, but just want to make sure that we don't have any conflicting, especially because, you know, we have a very small section of this where they have frontage, or
they have a point.
Right, it comes to a point in the middle of the driveway. Yeah. So in the event that it impacts anything we're doing, just let us know. But no loss.
We're expecting to have a planning board meeting in the next couple of weeks. I think it's actually next week. And we'll definitely be able to relay any major concerns that they have.
So like, we should be able to get the feedback we're looking for by the next meeting. So we should,
And I'll reach out to DPW first thing tomorrow and try to get them to respond.
yeah. Again, so that should tell if they don't feel comfortable with, you know, what it is on the review portion of it, contact. Yeah.
No, I'll reach out to them tomorrow.
I think what Paul is saying, and I agree, is convey to DPW engineering that they don't have to say it's okay. They can say, we don't know, you should have the third party review it. So I don't want to put them on the spot either where they feel like this is out of their realm of expertise, especially when we're talking about traffic. That, you know, they know that's an option. And if it's an option, make sure we get that information out to them, to the third party company like this week, so that they have enough time to hopefully get it done by next month.
And if there's any other question or concern like that. It was done previously, but since that time, is there any change that they have that they feel like could be addressed or a question about that? So the opportunity. Is there any more other questions? Peter, do you have it?
I just think it's the perfect and appropriate project for the site. I think it's a great fit. I feel it's unfortunate we had to downsize it a little bit, but who knows what's going to happen in the future? Maybe the other parcels will be developed in conjunction with this. I think it's a great addition to the city.
So we will be continuing this. Do you have any feedback or any other information as well for the applicant to come back with, Amanda?
I think I'm good.
Alex, do you have any other questions or any
No,
comments?
I'm good too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're going forward to the next forward. He's really proud. Yes. Thank you. We don't want to continue like I open to the board. Oh, yes, that's true.
Anybody virtually? And is there anybody present here that has any comments on?
I don't, everything we know from last start to sign.
I apologize for moving too fast. Sorry about that.
I was gonna ask Chris if I could have a copy of it. Yeah. Possible. A copy of the plan. Still see it.
Make that, but,
If you end up having questions or comments, convey them to our principal planner sometime in the next month or so. We can try and address them before the next meeting if you have anything. If not, no problem.
Everything we're seeing so far, like, they know what they're doing.
We've been supportive, but just because it's happening. I don't know what's going on next door.
Good for you.
So there's a memorandum that they did on the traffic, which is downsizing it, but there's also the original traffic study. So you
Well, it's already, it's on the website.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't know if there was
Oh.
but I can certainly put it up there.
Yeah.
If I can find the PDF.
Okay. Is it 2022?
Yeah.
Yes, I think but we should have it. And,
The memo, the updated memo goes over everything of that, minus a lot of the extra information, but it does hit the.
Stuff you don't need.
Yeah, I don't want to say it like that.
I've seen a million of them.
I'm the guy who puts a lot of these documents together.
If you don't get what you need, just reach out to Chantel.
With our second by Peter to our meeting, all those in favor say aye, all those opposed say opposed, roll call votes, Paul.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Alex.
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next up this evening, we have site plan review applicant Jackson, Proposing to change abuse from industrial use to a function hall for occupancy of 50 people on the first floor of the structure located at 37 Oakhill Road with industrial zoning district. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you're good. Jackson there, Queen of the Bed. Very good, actually. How you doing?
So I put up the existing conditions plan for now.
Yeah.
I'm old school here.
That's okay.
Yeah, this beautiful thing here. Hope you guys can see it.
We can, but they won't be able to see it virtually. So I'm going to do something.
Yeah, take a picture in front of there.
Put it down on the table.
Sure.
Take a picture of it so I can post it on here. And I can go over what you're talking about as we're talking about it.
Thank you, Paul.
I turned the page this evening on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw from the application, you're proposing to do like events on the weekends, and do like an office during the week.
That's right, yes.
Events on the second floor, offices.
So,
Well, right, the site slopes down so that it's really the first floor, but there is a walkout on the basic level in the back, on the side and back.
Okay.
it's like a basement.
By
So,
the way, I'm Ed Porzio.
I'm Jackson.
Architect.
Yeah.
And everyone can see what you're doing. So
Oh.
if you want to, when you point out something there, I'll point it out with the cursor on the TV.
Can you go back to the existing?
I can.
Just to review it. Okay, so the main thing is you see the parking right now is on the east side. And there's parking for 7 cars. The ones that are diagonal, and there's also 2
And then this one there.
perpendicular.
Oh, these two, yeah.
Those really, yeah, people do park in that corner. But what happens is right now, and you can see from this photograph, there are actually 2 driveway entrances into the lot. So what we are doing is we're closing on the northwest side.
Right.
We're closing that second driveway so we can put some landscaping in there.
Love that idea. Closing down the curb cut is a great idea.
Right next to the rail trail too.
And that would just be either grass or ground cover.
Yep.
And you see, we have the parking lot, perpendicular parking, and I believe we have 12 now, 12 cars. The 2 on the right side remain. And we have 1 handicap parking space and also 1 space for EVs.
You got a handicapped lift, I think I read.
Yes, there is a handicap.
It is a touchscreen.
Yeah, if you get too close, you'll move stuff. So what do you need me to?
There's the lift. It's a handicap parking space and then lift is right there on the front.
Yep.
It's a door.
And it also on the same floor,
Yeah, that's where this is
second
for
means
you,
of
right?
egress. There is a second means of egress actually that takes you down to the basement level out the side, but this is directly from that level.
The two doors, one right there, one main door, and right there. Yes.
Yeah. Door on the left here.
Right.
There's a little staircase, right?
And then in the back, you see there's a new staircase in the rear.
Yep.
On the southwest side. Right
there.
And then you have a small dumpster here.
It's a dumpster.
And that must be a roll. That must roll to the front when you need to empty it.
Yeah.
And you only needed, how many spaces did the code require?
Okay, 15, well, the space for the recreation is roughly around 1,600 square feet, so actually 15, actually 16, we need 16 spaces. We have 12, and the abutter who is here, let's have a letter.
No, we have a letter.
We have a letter that he will allow overflow parking. And so we'd like to present the letter.
No.
Was that submitted? You want, hold on, let me follow the chair here for a second, then I can look up the line. So this is amusement facility follow.
So that was off of one parking space for 5 seats. Okay, so one's for 5 seats, but if you're looking at 50, divided by 5.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it read that it's based on the square footage of that space being used.
So the building commissioner, when he did the Form of Intent, he classified it as an amusement facility. And she's reading amusement facilities 1 per 5 seats.
5 seats are where benches are used.
You're doing dedicated seats, or is it more like an open floor area inside?
Open floor area.
Yeah.
So for each 100 square feet of public floor area, there shall be a voided parking.
Do you know what the occupancy is going to be of the building?
Oh, yeah, it can't be more than 49.
Oh, they're flooding that.
Okay.
No more than 49.
Why is that? I'm reading the FOI says you'll require certificate of inspection if the load's greater than 50 people.
5.
Okay. So that's a fire
A
code
lot
thing.
of other things, yeah, a lot of other things come into play. Yeah.
So to Paula's point,
System, right?
Right, there's no sprinkler system there, but yeah, they could ask for,
And they're flooding that.
if it's over 50 or more, they could ask for.
yeah. So to Paula's point, I think it's safe to assume that if you're talking about a space per person that's in there, if there's 50 people in there at most, that would be by our code. That would be 10 spaces. So I think that's.
They have 12.
Exactly. So I think that
Plus the neighbor.
So was that sent to anyone?
No.
Okay.
Today, we have actually copies for.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna post it online. On here so people can see it and then.
so a question is going to be, Anthony, how many spaces would be available? Overflow just didn't say how many.
So I would expect around 4 because, well, the way I'm thinking about it, if we go with roughly 1,600 square feet for the recreation area, I thought it was 1,000, 1,000 per car. That's the square feet, but the way I read it.
Sorry, you can take my copy.
That will mean 16
The neighbor,
cars, and we have 12 on site, so that's.
the neighbor have a planning there.
I might be incorrect. I think that, let's see if I.
But we can use like 4 or 5 for him. When the recreation's full or.
I think if the capacity is only 50, I think your math originally solves the problem to begin with. This is just for them. This is meaning that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the permit, but it's nice to know that they have an auxiliary place to park because you can't park on Duckmill Road. So
Right.
I think that I'm satisfied that your parking is okay. I think this is nice to have. And I think it's good for you that you got it.
Yep.
But I don't personally have any problem with,
I would say it's just 10 spaces required.
On site.
I should. For when you have.
Right.
That's right.
When we have
Yeah. A function.
I would,
Now it's the, I can do something you can.
I know we're being empty for now.
he's talking about selfish or something about the letter.
The letter, the butter,
Oh, yeah, they use in the weekends too, yes.
theirs on the weekend, so
Yes.
it's kind of like what space would be available.
It's gonna be like 3 or 4. Because they never full. So that's most like 3 or 4. It's gonna be easy to have it there.
Yeah, so DPW said exactly what we talked about at the beginning, that they advised that the curb cut driveway modification to improve parking layout, which is what you did. You narrowed it down to 30 feet, which I think is great. It says contact DPW engineer to discuss or arrange a site meeting. Did you happen to talk to anyone at DPW?
I did.
So my point is, I don't want to speak for DPW, and we're at the point where we're at now, but at the same time, I like that we narrowed down that entrance, and I think that was the purpose of that conversation. So I think it was more they were offering to give you advice, but I'm pretty satisfied with what you ended up doing.
I think in the beginning, right in the beginning, we spoke with the DPW and they told us
Was that
that.
part of that group?
Right in the beginning.
Yeah, because that's usually one of the first things, because we have a lot of developments where you drive in and it's just a massive pavement, and you just want to have delineated parks, so you don't have people.
Can you just explain what the width is now and then what the width is proposed of the driveway over?
Well, it's right here. It's roughly 30 feet.
Currently?
What? No, this one it's 30 feet, and I'm not sure what the one we're covering up is. So, and I believe the code is like 10 to 12.
Well, so we have 36 foot. 36 foot is the maximum curb cut. So you have 70 feet along your frontage, and this is your proposed. So I'm looking at this, and you have 30.2 feet. So it looks like you're making the entrance 30.2 feet.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. So that's what our chair was asking.
Okay.
So it's 30.2 feet is the new width that you're creating that grass landscaped area, and you're cutting it down to 30 feet.
Okay.
That's more than good, right?
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine.
And usually it's like 12, like it's just an in and out.
Cars in and out.
Need to have how wide.
But given that you have the one parking space on that right-hand side, I think 30 feet is fine. It gives the traffic, it gives that parking space an area to back up to. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think it necessarily causes a problem. It's better than the situation that's there now.
Yeah, we did meet with the Economic Development Task Force. You were at that meeting, and I'm not sure if the DPW was. I know the building commissioner was there, and also health, board of health. Board of health was there. I'm not sure. The fire department was there. I'm not sure about DPW.
So
I don't think it was EDT. I think it must have been a department head.
I think it was department.
Yeah. I was gonna say, that's not that it matters, but.
It's the only recommendation I'd make is like you're gonna put grass area that if you put in some flowering shrubs or something. I only say this just to give you a little bit of, but also it's rail trail right there. So any type of greenery is gonna be.
Right, there is a strip here from the property line. Actually shows 4 feet. We actually have it at 3, but 4, we could do 4 feet too, and that could have some additional grass.
I think it's just more important, just along the street. if you had some, like Paul had said, you have some, perennials and juniper or something, like you said.
Street,
you roll those around.
recognize and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well, the only other thing is, we also,
So like just putting a car, if you just sprinkles.
Yeah.
but I'm suggesting, ground cover because it's also going to be used for, snow.
Yeah, you have to do,
Plow
you
area.
have to do hardy plantings because it's,
Right.
salt is going to kill a lot of things. Evergreens, things that, hostas, junipers, stuff like that, that'll survive all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anybody have any comments or questions?
I think great use for the property. I have no problems at all.
Thanks.
I have a big history with that site.
Oh,
I remember it well.
Oh, really? Huh?
What was it before?
Joker Sue.
Okay.
Way back. Well, it was a club.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They said to me it was like a Home Depot. The train just stopped by there, they unload materials, pack the days, and load to the trucks to the end.
Right.
And recently, like 20 years ago, it was like a factory.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I heard.
Can you just give us a very quick, like, what do you plan to do with it? Like, what is your,
Well, that's I run my business in there. It's gonna be like two small office in there. It's gonna keep running there for me, for myself, my business, construction business, and my wife gonna run.
Okay.
So she's gonna do birthday party.
Okay.
Oh yes, all those stuff. So,
what's that?
Conference meetings.
yeah.
So to that point, just one other department comment that I almost left off till you just said that. The Board of Health did say that they'll obviously need to be consulted if you're going to be serving food there.
No, we're not gonna prepare food in there.
No kitchen, right?
No.
Yep.
Not for that. We have a small kitchen for the office, but not. We don't have stove. We're gonna have nothing
I
there.
recommend touch bases, whether or not the permit you have to pull for any of that, or they use under the Board of Health.
No, they didn't say nothing about
I
that.
don't- Well, I know we have to present drawings to the building department because it's some light interior renovation, not much.
We're gonna have to
He
put
wants-
the bathroom to AC bathroom.
So we might have to go through the Board of Health also.
Just something to keep in mind.
Just to keep in mind, just, on the checklist of things, so.
Right.
If
Okay.
there's anything you need, it's like you won't be making food, but if anything, with like there might be a different type of permit. You
Right.
need to do
Okay.
things that brought in,
Yeah.
that's all.
We're gonna bring food, maybe warm up in there,
Right.
microwave and stuff. So, but
Yeah.
now we're not gonna prepare.
Right.
We're gonna have wood. We're gonna have stove.
Right.
So, but it's good to know.
But check with them ahead of time, so you know if you need to make any.
I know we're gonna need an extra sink in there. That's what they said.
Right, well, you have a slab sink, you need a slab sink, I think.
Yeah, that's what they said.
You have a hand sink.
They said that to us, and that day we have the meeting.
Right, so we have that.
But that's all they ask.
I think you have a good idea there.
Yeah,
I always see online people looking for event spaces for small events.
right.
But I think you'll do well at that location.
Yeah, I think that'll be good too. Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
I just, one other quick, so now we would like to, proceed with the construction drawings for the building department. Do we have to wait like 20 days? Because
You'll have to wait for is this with like the special permit? No, it's the site plan. So you'll have to wait for the site plan decision to be drafted and signed. And then after the site plan decision is drafted and signed, the clerk will stamp it. There's no appeal period for site plan. So as soon as it's drafted and signed, you can go on your way.
You can pull a building permit, but you can work on your design and everything. Me too.
Yeah. Probably that was 20 days.
No, I would imagine just your drawings, you mean?
No, all
There's
the,
no appeal period for a site plan.
No, you can say that we'll just draw up his design.
Yeah, that's what I said.
yeah.
right, well, I'll be away for a few weeks, but then when I get back, we'll get right to it.
Anyway.
Again, any further questions? Is it a public hearing? Is there anybody virtually? Okay.
No, the only person left virtual is one of the applicants. Anyone here though?
Anyone present have any questions, comments on this application? Motion has been made to close the hearing. All those in favor?
Second that motion.
And in a second. By Peter. Thank you, Peter. To close the hearing, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Paul?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Paula? Aye. Discussion?
No, I'm good. Make a motion to approve the site plan for 37 Duck Mill Road, with just the caveat that it's subject to the plans provided and to provide some landscaping in that that new landscape area along Duck Mill Road.
Second.
I don't know if we should make it a permanent condition, but because our parking is tied to it, we should probably say that the occupancy is the occupancy was noted to be less than 50 through fire code, and since the parking is tied to the number of people in the building, that the permit should probably have a cap of 50 people. You don't want a situation where there's 100 people.
Well, that's what the application's for anyway, so it was asking for that. So based on the number of person occupancy, it requires 10 spaces that have been provided. And there was additional spaces.
You can say that. I think, yeah, you can say that. I just wanted to make it known that the decision is based upon there not being more than 50, because that is tied to our.
I will also have that in my architectural drawings, for floor plan.
Perfect. Yeah, so you can, so it's safe to say left. Yep. I'll put that up on.
All those.
No, not you. I was
No,
saying one. You second it? Second.
Oh, that's second. By Peter. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Paul?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Paula? Aye. That's.
Now you're good. Okay.
Good enough.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Good luck to you. Thank you. Great.
When we open this, you understand we're 45. Great. So next up on our list, we have a special permit and site plan review applicant Samuel Vargas, proposing the redevelopment of an existing structure into mixed-use multi-tenant. 17 residential units with retail office use at the location of 424 to 438 Main Street in the in-town business district.
So I'm just, you guys know me, my name is Nick Teletier. I'm just here as a real estate consultant. So Sam's the actual applicant. We obviously submitted the special permit with the drawings as designed for the units as laid out. You know, where you prefer to start?
How about just a conceptual review, number of units, where they are, rough base, things like that?
Sure. So this building, as you probably know, is pretty unique in terms of ceiling height in comparison to other units on Main Street. Other buildings on Main Street. Because of that ceiling height, it actually provides for a pretty unique reuse in the townhouse style development, which was designed by the architect. That townhouse style development allows for, as you can see, 8 one-bedroom townhouse style units. So if you look at the, okay, good, it's colored. So if you look at the colors, that's the best way to match with the unit count. So the orange/pink on the screen is a one-bedroom townhouse style unit. The, we'll call it teal/blue on the screen is a 2-bedroom townhouse style unit. Because as you probably know from looking at the building, the front elevation of that building has a small 3rd floor that doesn't extend, or 2nd floor that doesn't extend the entire way.
Not that familiar.
Okay, so the building right to the, yeah, there's kind of this upper level, the 2nd level. So that reuse is for single level units because it's a smaller 2nd story. And that is noted as 3 one-bedroom units on the 2nd story, which are the pink, red, and purple-ish colors. And then based on the existing storefront that's there, the intention is to, of course, maintain some retail use in the front of the building with 2 smaller retail style, which is really if you have experienced what the businesses that are coming to Main Street are looking for, they are looking for much smaller spaces than this historically large warehouse type space. And then the architect had designed an office/conference area, which could be used by not only the occupants, but occupants of neighboring properties. That's shown in the yellow.
And I assume that has to do with the lack of light.
Exactly. Yeah. So because of the way the building is situated, on the left-hand side is the parking garage. So that's all exposed. Right-hand side is obviously abutting, I think, shacks. Yeah.
About half of it is.
Yeah. So you really can't put any sort of residential space there. And so that was the intention of the conference session.
Then I've got speaking of park.
Yeah. So pretty cool.
Fascinating.
Right? It's funny. Have you been in this building, Paul?
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah. So in the basement is crazy. It's unlike any basement you've seen. It's these giant concrete pillars and it has huge ceiling height. And it actually, because of the way it abuts on Boulder Drive, and you may have, I think there's like a red overhang on Boulder Drive, right? Or something weird that denotes it.
It almost looks like there was a service
entrance
door or service garage there.
Yeah. Yes. It's like a retro look. Yeah. Yep. So that abuts right off of Boulder Drive. And it's basically street level.
And the architects measured the ceilings and felt that there was enough ceiling height to put in garage space. Yes.
I was looking at thinking that and it's like, you can access that actually through the garage?
No, not yet.
That's a great idea.
That's what we got.
Yeah, thank you. That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, it's got that weird retro awning, or not an awning, but.
Yeah, I don't know what the inside.
Yeah, it's all concrete, but it's big. It's a lot. It's a huge building.
Now, if you give me permission, I can pull up the MLS photos.
Absolutely.
Does it have a basement photo in there?
I know, because at the time we took photos, there was no electricity on the wireless. Yeah. So, I mean, there's some HVAC equipment that Sam and Sue will have to remove to accommodate some cars. But so HVAC equipment's not going to be in the basement anyways now.
So it really is the existing use.
Is this the first floor you're talking about accommodating with ceiling height?
Yeah.
Accommodating with the tenants?
Yeah. There is a limited need for such a large retail space in downtown Pittsburgh at this point. So this reuse, which is really mixed use, is ideal for what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, so it's
So I'll say list of things.
Let me get my notes out a second.
Save it.
Save it. I'm ready when you are.
I'm seeking a special permit in order to allow residential on the first floor. So that's a provision in town business. In this case, you were looking at even residential right up to the front, right?
No.
Commercial. They're gonna be commercial on the front. Oh, I'll pull it back up.
The entire front.
Yeah. So except for the second story.
Misinterpreting the diagram.
Yeah. So
you can see it better right here. The new first one. That's the front retail.
That's commercial.
That's the first floor. That's.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that going across Main Street on that side?
This is Main Street right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the red over to the left. This is that second story. Basically sits above.
I apologize. My orientation was completely the other way. That's why I'm going like, well, we're gonna have some. No, you're good. Some frontage house and like you're gonna have to be able to almost walk out to the.
This plan has a 990 square foot unit, a 580 square foot. And then a front access hallway.
Okay. So things with that, to make sure you also accommodate drop-offs, packages, probably in the doctor, everything else in order that you have some type of the, for like that. And packages. Plus it's for all the specimens.
Got it.
Other things would be there's plenty of space in the garage. It's like bike rack.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Trash, how are you going to deal with the trash? Won't be putting in barrels out in the street. That's trash going to be accommodated someplace. In the garage.
Yeah, in the garage.
Put out.
Yeah.
There's in the basement, there's not only, there's enough space for cars, but there's plenty of space for additional room.
You can see it all in the signs here.
All those, spaces on the left and the right. There's an incredible amount of space there.
So that's one things, other features we make sure it's like identify how you're going to take care of the trash. We might not know trash, nothing on the sidewalks.
Yep.
That's that.
Oh, you're gonna say back to the camp?
Yeah, I got that.
Oh, you already said it.
Pets. How are you dealing with pets?
Have you thought about that?
Well, with Main Street, there's nothing you can do. There's no pet relief areas. They just have to, I mean, if it's rental, you have, if they're
I guess
medically allowed to have them, then you.
The good news with this is there is the park across the street, right across Boulder Drive. So there is some grass area in close proximity.
Well, that's for that.
Well, and service animals.
What's that? Oh, service. I don't think you could be in service.
I don't think you can. Yeah.
So, but and that's true. That's a good point because those are that's the type of animals that have to be allowed in all buildings. So it certainly makes sense that you said that.
Well, these going to be like ownership or rentals?
They're going to be rentals. Market rate.
So just toss this out there. We had received a proposal and I had no knowledge about these things, but they were going to put a pet group building, which had like a washing station and other things for your pet.
That was the one that crashed on the police station, right?
Because I would never heard something.
Yeah, that was.
But it seems to be a very big urban thing.
There's typically a premium for that. Something I consider.
I mean, the funny part is, not funny part, but the coincidence, like you said, you have tons of space.
Oh, tons of space.
So it's something you decide you want to do. I don't think it's anything we're going to require you to do, but there's something you decide you want to do. You have room for all those sorts of things.
I think it's a great question, and I'm really glad you brought it up because it's something to consider.
Yeah.
It's like accommodating the pets is rare.
Yep.
So you have something that kind of caters to that. Storage. So storage. So we always try to encourage that you have some type of on-site storage, rental walk, something like that. Because usually it's for your units, so they don't have to try to put everything in closet.
Yeah, the garage again on the left and the right side. That's all in the rear. Yeah.
So we like to see that we provided some additional storage for the unit, so they would find something.
And you wouldn't be opposed to rent that storage out to existing clients or to existing tenants?
Well, tenants.
Meaning provide additional storage if they want it for free, but with the subscription fund.
Oh.
No, I don't think we usually get into that. You let the market handle that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think we basically say you provide tenant storage, then you let the market handle that.
Because that was discussed of providing, offering additional storage at a certain fee if they want.
I think that's a great idea. Nice amenity.
Convenience piece for a lot of people. Another thing is going to be, brought this up with like a review, is where is this drop off going to be, groceries and things like that. Now we should have the garage. So
exactly.
Have that to be able to, is there an elevator?
You're not going to be required to do an elevator, right?
Because of the townhouse style, there is, there's no requirement per se, because it is all the units. Well, there's 3 units on the second floor, but the rest of the units all they're off of the first floor. So yeah, I would think if you usually park and bring groceries up the flight of stairs, or
I'm sure a lot of people will use the parking garage. Park there, bring stuff in, then move.
But also any right, like do you have got like per unit, do you have any guest parking? Yeah.
So right now there's 25 spots in the garage.
27.
Oh, sorry, I counted wrong.
17 units. So yeah.
Yeah. We like to see that. And whether do you have an on-site manager to live there or be there or. We're just trying to get the count,
Yeah.
like.
So no current on-site manager. I think it would either be owner managed or they would hire an outside.
Like,
Yeah.
need somebody to be able to drive their truck in and deal.
Yeah, so they're local. They do tons of projects locally in the area.
But a parking space for you, that's what.
Oh, I'm sorry. I understand what you're saying.
You can drive in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Get up here.
No, you're right. 100%. Understood.
Also, the architect, he told us that he can create more parking space if we need.
Well, I mean, I think
Thing you need to think about.
I think if you actually get 27 there, that's more than 1.5 per unit. That's fantastic. I mean, I can't tell you how much I was all for the redevelopment of this building to begin with, but having that parking under, I think is amazing.
Well, I think it creates spots that don't exist on Main Street, right? You know?
Yeah, parking.
When I first looked at the plans when they were presented, and I took a look at them.
Last year or this year?
Right now. I really went, wow.
Yeah.
What a fantastic idea, because as you know, there have been other proposals for the use of this building that we weren't nearly as excited about.
Yeah.
And this is a great development.
All your concerns last year, we rectified this year.
Is that going to be remote control door, I assume, on the back of the building?
Yes.
Any accessible units from the first floor?
No, because they're all townhouse style, so all the bedrooms are going to be on the second story.
And to have these units available right on Main Street is just going to be a super help for the development.
Other things, make sure your aisle widths, even you, I know you're probably dealing with existing staircases, but without even the elevator and other stuff, you bring up furniture, like all those things.
Most of the stairs, yeah.
The stairs are already, the second floor mezzanine, the stairs are extremely wide.
Oh, yes, they are.
They're almost.
So that's for those 3 units.
Yeah.
From one of the old listings.
They are like 5.5, 6 feet, something like that. They are really wide.
So just want to make sure that it's like, because you are starting next year, to a certain degree, you have that ability to kind of make that a little bit wider, like a hotelish or so. Down.
Yeah, so what's interesting about this actually, now that you say it, is that it's really only the 3 top units that are going to use a common stairwell. The rest of the units are all going to have in-unit stairwells. So there's only 3, besides the garage, of course, garage up to the main, and then only the top 3 units that would use a common stairwell. All the other units would have their own individual stairwells.
Now, this is a picture for 2017, so it might be quite old, but I assume that's what you're talking about?
Well, there's to the mezzanine, no, there's another staircase, quite wide. I think that was one of the entrances when it was Woolworth. On the back, that's the rear older side.
Yeah, like I said, these are all photos.
Yeah.
So that just being said in your design, just make sure you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Mark designed it. Yes.
Oh, wait. Is that right there? That's the bathroom. It's the same.
More and more blind.
3 foot. 3 foot, 3.5. It's the code. 3 foot, 5.5. That's these stairwells in the units.
Right.
It's the one complaint that you hear over and over again is, how do you, especially when you don't.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
People get furniture upstairs or get boxes upstairs and the stairs are, 3 feet wide.
Kind of protect you too, because it's just going to do damage to every corner, everything.
Yep, agreed.
Right. Less repair work. So. I'm just gonna say, take a look at the side. We'd like some elevations of what you're gonna do to the side.
Yeah, and we went to the architect. We didn't hear back.
No, not yet.
We did get that comment, and we did not get it back in time for. Understood.
Yeah, particularly with the, there seems to be some planters out there now, like to the front of the city, and put
Paul, do you want to pull it up again?
Street scenery?
Yeah.
There's much there. You talking about Main Street or both?
Yeah, Main.
I don't know, there's some planters a while ago. I don't know if they're there anymore. I don't think so.
I know there's some like brick and
Hold on.
brick.
Yeah, there's some concrete, this is from,
Okay, they're there.
this is 23, so it's anyone's guess if they're still there, but they're
Still there. Yeah.
I would be surprised if they're not. So there's planters basically. That makes it wide.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, adding to any type of landscaping.
I'm not even, I mean, my suggestion would be, because it's a nice push that I think we try and make when it's available right in front, that since this is going to be a we're building, I'm sure, just that they maintain the planting areas directly in front, because the city sometimes doesn't have the staff to do it.
The problem with those, and I agree with you, the problem with those planters is they actually require, you kind of need, so the one right in front of mine is now managed by the storefront, because she's there to water it, and because the city planted a bunch of stuff, but unless you water it,
right, that's the biggest. It's really maintenance when it comes down to it.
Yes,
it's just part of it.
And then particularly like at least the residential, like the doorway, if you've seen most people further down Main Street, some of that, it's like decorative.
Yeah.
Something that's
attractive
to being like, that's really like entranceway. They've even done the code like side, not just like same as the side. It's kind of like a little bit different to kind of accentuate, as well as lighting. So you might even think of like,
lighting?
Yes, hanging lighting, not like hanging lighting.
Oh, you're talking about in the under.
In the
Lighting up.
in entrance ways, kind of like give it a little. And some more pizzazz.
Is there any those windows obviously must be old. They must be.
Are you talking the top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I assume they're being replaced as part of construction. Is there any, is the exterior building conditions to the point where it's going to remain, or is it going to be repaired sometime?
Yes.
So, do you want to? I mean, it is in good condition on the exterior side, yes.
So it doesn't need painting or a touch of brick?
Painting, yes.
It does. So you'll repaint it? Okay.
The windows are all going to be closed. Yeah.
There'll also be windows on the park garage side.
Right. So the one thing that brings up, and I'm sure this will come into overview, I would imagine, is given that you have a lot of public that can be there at any given time, that you probably most likely will need privacy glass on all the first floor. And I don't know if that's a building code thing. If it's not, it's a common sense thing. Yeah. You'll almost certainly need it because you'll need the daylight, but you also don't want the privacy intrusion. Yeah. No, I'm talking about this side. Because there's going to be windows all down here.
Oh. So, and particularly on Main Street, like
windows are going to go all on the parking garage. The parking deck.
When we look at particularly oversized windows, like on the Main Street side, that we are pretty standard of putting in like the window treatments to be upkept by the landlord. It's like installed, professionally installed stuff. So it's the same.
You don't have someone
having somebody.
Yeah, understood.
So that's about.
No, you're absolutely right. I know.
So you're just looking at there's window treatments there. They can put other stuff like that, but it's still.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough thing. You're right. But.
So at least on those prominent points, as we like to see, those are installed.
I know in some contracts I've seen, it's part of the rental contract.
Yeah.
Their responsibility to keep them in place. So
I think what was interesting about the architect proposing the 2-level living is the windows, the bedrooms are going to be on the second floor, so you're going to have the view. You don't have to worry about that privacy in the bedroom, which is fantastic.
And that's fine too. I mean, if it ends up not being an issue, this comment is more of a real life thing that it's better to think about now. I don't think it's a permanent condition, at least not that I'm considering. It's just something that you might want to take into account. We've run into that with some of the other first floor properties where people don't want to see people,
it makes sense,
wandering around or loitering outside their window or whatever the case would be. So
it makes sense.
Yeah, you bring back again the building elevate paint colors, keeping with I'm sure the motif that it is, and style, the accent lighting on the exterior would be.
Yep.
Thing. enhancing it. HVAC units not to be visible or hanging out windows or anything like that, so they don't be top or.
You're doing AC units, maybe like maybe 2 units, so going on the ceiling, going on the roof.
We haven't got there yet, but I guess it's gonna be usually a unit or
fully.
It's gonna be, yeah, they're gonna be on the roof.
Yep, perfect. Either way, as long as they're out of sight.
We're moving in that direction. I mean, it's our existing ones now. You got.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, mine's gone. Mine's gone. I took it out. It really is a cool building, and it's been sitting like this for about 6 years.
Yeah. There was one comment from DPW. It says, please note the increased occupancy subjects this property to new sewer connection fees. Please apply for wastewater sewer connection permit to track fees. Connection fee schedule is $2,000 for the first unit, $1,000 for each additional unit. Engineering requires the sanitary sewer roof drains to be CCTV inspected and dye tested to demonstrate proper separation in advance of planned sewer separation project on Main Street. Contact DPW engineering to set up a time for CCTV dye testing.
How much per unit?
It says connection fee is $2,000 for first, $1,000 for each additional.
Parking, I'll just say needs to be dedicated to at least the one per unit, like not additional, like it's part of the cost of their.
Yeah.
You renting the apartment with the parking, where we've also run into some situations where we thought we made it pretty clear that people providing off-street parking in a parking garage, that they were making it extra and then people didn't want to do it. So now we have a congested issue on street parks. And this needs to be part of like the unit cost. So like to be tied into that, whether they like unit use it or not. It's like, this is the.
Yeah, they go into rent ahead of time. The landlord's going to go, developer, is going to go into it ahead of time, knowing that whatever rent they need to put has to account for the occupancy.
It's not safe, if there's parking available down there, just pay. Correct.
Yeah, because that's what it's
about. Go find and then try to find your space and then take some other, spot. Commercial business. So that's the other thing is there'll be like, on Main Street, there would be only parking is for the commercial aspect, only no residential parking.
You would never have commercial parking on the building anyway. There's no one coming to a commercial other than professional office space. Yeah. You wouldn't have a retail space where they send the people to go in the parking garage to park.
I know you got the garage.
Yeah.
Garage right
there.
They
could
got that right there.
Yeah, no, totally. I just want to be clear. So if there was a room for additional parking in the basement, are you saying that we couldn't put parking space for the commercial units in that building?
No, I'm just saying.
You can. Okay.
I didn't think people would.
Just saying, like if it's like a dress store on the first floor, then
got it. Okay.
Professional offices, and it's someone that's going to be there 9 to 5. You very well might have a use for them. All was saying, and I agree with it, is just that the spaces for the residential units have to be there first and foremost. Got it. And they can't be charged extra for the parking in the garage if it's part of why we're approving the project. So that makes sense.
Yeah. We don't want the parking to be indeterminate.
No, it's the whole point of requiring parking is that it exists.
Yeah. Yes. If they want more than what's required, something like that, but you're going to provide the minimum space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. EV, also consider EV because you're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah, I think by building our price.
It is, but also there might be special things because it's garage.
Yeah, got it.
Luxury charging in a garage residence and some extra building code requirements you need to do for that. Protections in place to put potential for fire.
Yep. Are there sprinklers in that building now?
There are.
Do we know if they're functional?
Well,
right. The reason why I asked that is it going to be a retrofit or are they just tearing everything off?
So the architect looked at them and
we need to grade, but we can reuse the line, is what he said.
I was curious.
Just not knowledgeable on it, but again, on the EV might be where you need certain fire suppression system or that windows are located in the garage or a certain section or so it might be just maybe not the whole thing, but part of it. I don't know. But you'll have to go through that. It's about strategizing about where best to do that.
Want to take comment? What are you thinking?
Yeah, public comment. Is there anyone here? Questions, comments?
You get for waiting on the reality.
No public comments, good, Matt. Yes. We don't want public comment.
37?
Do what happens.
So that's where I tired one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anybody online?
The only one online is here in person too, so. Well played.
For that, I don't see any public comment on it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a fantastic plan. Ambitious, but I love it. I'm all in. I have no problem.
Going to come back with the elevations and aspects.
I mean, my preference would be to vote on it tonight with the expectation that they revise the plan, just showing the additional areas we had asked for. I think that there's no sense in waiting a whole month just to see something where there's plenty of space there. And even if they don't label them, they pick any one of those rooms, can be tenant storage, bike storage, anything else. So I'm more than ready to vote on it.
You are waiting for the approval of the permit to complete the purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. We're trying to get that done.
Does everybody have any questions?
I'm pretty well set.
Yeah.
Now, Amanda, do you have any comments or questions about voting on it for this evening?
No, I love it. I'm going to vote for it as soon as we vote.
Okay, Alex, do you have any questions or comments?
Nope.
Same here before you even asked the question. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. To this one for 4:38 minutes.
Motion's been made to close the hearing. Second by Amanda.
Wow. That's the first of the night, I think.
Here we go. Ian. Roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Paul or Peter?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Paula? Aye. Discussion.
Make the motion to approve the special permit and site plan for Vargas 424 to 438 Main Street, 17 residential units and retail office space. Office use, I should say, subject to just providing, demonstrating on the plan, location for a package and mailroom, bike storage, trash location, tenant storage areas, and I don't know how if you want to word it, maintaining, if possible, the planter box.
But also,
yes, when you get to the point,
lighting.
When you get to the point where you know what you're doing for color and lighting, you're going to take the building, colored windows, show us an elevation. So we just want to make sure it's not going to be
Trash should be
that decision of color. Exactly. I don't want to pick on any particular color, but something that's going to stick out. So it would be nice to see what you're planning to do.
Trash should be maintained within the building through service. Also, especially the window treatments.
Yeah.
And visible HVAC. Like rooftop, on the sides. Maintain residential parking for units.
That's all I have.
No, that's to one other than.
So I would say prior to so I imagine you probably have them before your building permits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prior to prior to issuance of a building permit. Because that's the type of thing you don't want to wait till occupancy necessarily. Because you want to make sure there's a plan ahead of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to build it from.
Right.
Then you heard, so 3-year commencement.
Yeah.
And we look to probably put an end in at 4 years, but you can always see potential, but we just like to see some type
The
of.
plan is hopefully to convey the building at the end of next month, which would, start things moving.
This is a special permit so that there is an appeal period as well. So once it's written, file with the clerk, 20-day appeal, record the decision in the registry of deeds. Makes it effective.
I will say, if you need the decision, if you need the special permit prior to closing, probably gonna have to ask and be very nice to Chantel so that she can draft it. There's a lot of special permits ahead of you that she has to draft. So just keep that in mind because I can tell you sometimes it's more than a month. So understood.
And I think we usually have standard conditions in there about maintaining things and landscape maintaining the building facade and other aspects like that. The minimum amount of parking.
I'll add those to my motion.
Okay. Right. All those.
Need a second.
Second. All right, thank you. Then we have a second by Peter. And all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Paul?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Paula? Aye.
Excellent. Good luck, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate it.
Very good.
Yes, it is. See you later.
Okay. Thanks for being patient, guys.
Early.
No one in the audience thinks it's early.
We're always last. We used to be on at like 9 or 10.
It's like, I just cursed us.
Yep.
Special permit and site plan approval. 2024-3 modification. Applicant Paul Tossi proposes to modify site plans in regards to the footprint design of the front facade at the location of 347 Main Street for the business of Power Surge Barcade within the downtown business district. Good evening.
So everyone's seen what the barcade looks like. It's flat. The original special permit, when it was approved, had behind the fenced area and the original kind of doors going into it. So like if you drive by it right now, basically jump the gun. So, it's all flat. A couple of reasons why we did that. Number one was having some issues with like folks kind of hanging out on the inside of that. Falling asleep, having to come in, stretch aside, get them out. So knowing that we were not going to be impeding and swinging out into the sidewalk because of the fenced-in area that we got approved, we decided to make it flat with basically the tenants approval. So yeah, we used a little bit of square footage, but it was only just to kind of come in and out. The door locations are the same. Also did with some kind of like foundation stuff we had to do on the inside. So it was just easier to make it all one line so that the building was a little bit more secure and sturdy. But yeah, it's probably helpful to look at it.
I thought I paused the share, but I was pulling it up in the street scene, but all right.
Kind of like the board now.
I just think it looks better. Kind of modernizes the storefront. So that's going to say, but so if you look at the right side, you know how like back in the day they did the indentations kind of going in for the display boxes. So it's all just flat now.
Okay.
Yeah. So
basically where this interior window is there, it goes straight across from there, actually from the door too.
Exactly. Yeah. So the door locations are the same. It's just flat now. And it doesn't impede on the sidewalk at all. All it does is just kind of shrink down what's available inside the, what do we call that? A patio fence? Yeah. So they, our building inspector asked us to come and,
Was the awning?
I didn't see.
I didn't remember that from
Like you have a whole like projection of awning that come out.
Yeah, so originally, and I don't know how long it's been since originally got this one. Maybe less than a year, but it was definitely in 2024. We collaborated with a structural engineer basically to see what would be kind of coolest looking thing that could be representative of the time period as well. TBD if we do that. We're actually right now in the middle of like, is it feasible?
So that's the reason why I ask is exactly that reason.
Yeah.
If we're approving these plans and we approve that, and then you don't do it.
Right.
And so that's why I'm asking, is it part of it or not? Because when we approve this, we should approve what we're actually, we can make a note saying it's not part of it. I guess we can make a note saying it's subject to their financial feasibility.
It's not even.
Uh-oh.
Right.
That's that screen. Just move the, just touch the screen somewhere. Yeah, right there, click. Hold on. You guys can be talking.
So otherwise, we don't have to approve the. We could just say the modification is bringing forward the.
That is correct. That is the intent right now.
Feasibility of cost isn't our major issue. It's actually the constructability. What we have to do to try to make that work based on snow loads and everything else. It's a pretty extreme modification inside.
Oh, yeah.
And so we don't even know if we can accomplish it without actually tearing stuff out to actually put the new stuff in. So
Can you just state your name for the record? You didn't already?
Oh, I'm sorry, Alex. I did not say your name.
We're taking minutes, so whoever speaks.
Alex or Jake.
Okay.
So if we don't do that, then what we're going to do is the actual what the escape room sign kind of looks like. It's the low
fluorescent, the one that's set.
That's probably a little bit better of a representation so that is exactly what it looks like. Excluding the patio fence. The patio fence is half of the building. So it encompasses the entire what was sunk in that is now flying. So if you look at kind of the facade of it, just delete the whole.
It's just for the point of reference that we kind of what talking about.
Okay. So Wass Arthur did that. They're also currently building the power surge sign right now. Couple of ways to do it. So if we do actually do the awning, it's actually going to sit on top of the awning. Power and all that kind of stuff. If you don't do it, then it's actually going to be affixed to the front of the building below the kind of second floor windows there. It's pretty big. It's like 4 feet tall.
I suppose since this is a special permit, site plan, we can just make it a permit condition saying if they decide to build the awning, it's to be accorded. It's to be similar to the plan provided. That way, the reason why I mentioned that earlier was I want to make sure that when you get final sign off, someone doesn't say the planning board approved it with an awning, the awning wasn't built.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure we cover that.
I do appreciate that. Yeah, because the original awning that we showed you guys is like the green stuff. That you kind of see up and down Main Street. I mean, I can't remember actually if we approved it with that. It might have just been
I don't remember an awning from before I go back, but
the original building looks like this. There was no awning on the original. No awning on the original.
So I think we can just add a note since we have to draft a special permit decision. Anyway, it's just it's a modification anyway, right? Yes. So just as part of the modification, saying if the awning is to be built, it's similar in looks and appeal as to the elevation presented in the drawings. I mean, obviously you can change it. It just I'm assuming if you're going to build, it's going to look something like this. And if it looks nothing like this and you build an awning, then just come back and let us know what the awning is.
I appreciate it.
Especially because awnings are somewhat atypical. I mean, there are plenty of them, but you don't often see it, especially with a rehab like this. So you just want to make sure it doesn't slip over.
Might trigger something also for working on the special permit piece for projection.
So the first thing I thought was, does it matter that it's over the right of way because the sidewalk's in the right of way? But I that's not for us to figure out.
Sign, so it might be an issue with projection.
Yeah.
Just curious more than anything. The windows on the extreme right of the first floor, what was the reason that you did not go down to the level of the other three banks of windows? Is there something interior?
There is. There's a bar on that side of the building. So if we did that, it would be below the bar and some of the plumbing you'd be able to see in. So we built it to the height of the bar. So it kind of covers everything behind where they're walking and moving and all the equipment. That's exactly why. That's exactly why.
It's gonna be hard to see anyway with the fencing there on the street. So, but yeah, I agree. A lot of people I've talked to are all by the idea of the arcade. So,
oh yeah, arcade.
So, I'm excited for this to be forward.
You did an incredible amount of work on that one. I peeked inside when you can see down to the
earth
down below.
Yeah, you see that? Yeah.
Wow.
So it's bringing forward the building side of the first floor elevation to the outermost corner.
Yeah, I think technically that's correct. It just makes it flush. Audience still TBD, so I do appreciate that.
What do you think? Similar to the elevation.
We really want to do it, but if we can't do it, then it's going to be affixed to the face of the building. The sign is going to be affixed to the face of the building.
It's always easier if you're on, just to note it in the special permit. That way you don't add the modification. That way you don't have to come out.
Right, because I mentioned it might be a special permit because of projection, so it's.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
You'll find out when you start building it.
Yeah, has to be the zoning ordinance.
But no, it's probably, I assume it's covered by approving it as special permit.
At least that's
yeah.
At least that's that piece.
So just so you know, there's no attendees virtual, so just wanted to let you know.
So those are the only two things built similar to. It's like not required.
So if we do it, let's come back and show it to you.
Unless it looks substantially different than that.
Yeah. Look, it's gonna look substantially different.
Well, I mean, run it by Chantel in the building department, and they'll be able to.
Let's change the condition to the awning, subject to provision of site plan or elevation.
So I was gonna say.
They can meet the condition.
I was gonna say, we can make it a condition that it's subject to future review of the awning if it's end up being built. That way you can just send it to us and we can just say yes or no.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Whatever's easiest on us, so we just get a thumbs up.
I mean, theoretically, you could do that, and you wouldn't even be, you could, but you wouldn't be required to come to a public hearing. We would just, because we can't make votes outside of a public hearing, so it would have to be done during a meeting anyway. But at the same time, you could provide to Chantel could send it to us, and we can say yes, that's unless it's something crazy. There's really no reason for you to.
There's only two options. It'd be that, or it would be. I think the only thing that would work is like you've been at the Lucas on Newberry Street. They've had like a retractable awning that goes in and out. So if it's in, that's what the building looks like. If it's out, then it really will just cover whatever the patio or you wouldn't have it out if it's snowing. It's snowing, but if it's raining or if it's like super hot and the sun's beating down,
But that'd be the only two things honestly that we could do. But we'll if y'all we'll take your guidance on it.
So I think the safest way is just to say, if the applicant decides to construct an awning, subject to future board reviews.
Yeah.
So that way, we don't need to draft a new decision. We don't even have to have a public hearing. We just have to look at it, say if it's okay or not, and if it's not, we can probably give you some advice before the meeting too. So if there's any issues, you can bring it to us. But I think that's the safest way to do it.
Submit validation for construction.
If they decide to build it on, or you could say if they decide to deviate from the elevation provided. Yeah. Oh, Alex is here.
Yeah, hey guys. I have some units that I own on 281. Do I have to abstain from this?
Let me see how far that is.
Did you vote on the first one? Hope not, because then
It's quite a way. It's quite a ways away. Let me. 300. It's 290 feet property line property. Thereabouts. So this. I don't know, Chantel, is it an automatic? I know it's implied and it's suggested that if you're within 300 feet, is it automatic? The biggest reason why I asked that is, you remember Mark, South Street guy, asked me to stay on and vote, even though I had to recuse myself. I don't know if an applicant can. I don't want to put that on them either, but.
They can, but they have to disclose them. See an ethics disclosure.
Right. So here's for us, knowing where we're at in terms of members present today, I'd like to be able to keep going. We're cool with anybody voting, if it's yay or nay, so at least we know. So we'll go with it. We'll sign whatever's for it.
It's not you. It's Alex that
it's
has
not
to
you,
sign the.
right? But we didn't do it at the time.
Yeah. So, by the way, if I don't have to abstain, I'm already, I'm voting yes for this because I think there's a lot of good potential with it.
Yeah.
Did you vote? What is it? First one.
Modification subject to 20 days. So
Yes, because it's a special permit.
You didn't vote on the first one.
More than one board member is disqualified because of actual conflicts of interest. The board will not be able to act because it does not have a quorum, which is today. If the number of quorum is not set by law, quorum is generally a majority. In these instances, as a matter of last resort, the board can use what is called a rule of necessity to permit the participation of the disqualified members in order to allow the board to act. Prior to invoking the rule of necessity, public officials should review the Ethics Commission's primer on self-dealing, financial interest in the rule of necessity, or contact the solicitor, town council, or Ethics Commission. What I didn't read was earlier on where it talks about, is there a financial benefit to the property, to the business entity that would be involved for the board member. I don't want to speak. I was going to say, I don't want to speak for Alex.
There's nothing it doesn't affect me one way or another, just the distance.
I don't have the form handy, Chantel, but and I doubt you do as well, but I know the form you're talking about where it says, I'm disclosing my matter of interest in this. I'm voting on it anyway. So my question is, does he have to, can he sign it after the fact is my question. And I don't see the document here. I'm trying to think of what it's called.
If I can sign it, I can be at City Hall on Thursday morning to take care of it. It's not a problem on my end.
Well, it's not a problem if you can do it after the fact. You can do it at any point. It's a question of can you do it after the fact is what I'm trying to figure out. Chantel, do you know what it's called? Because I can't find
that particular
the piece of paper. All right, let me look at it. I know, I hear you. File a review conflict of interest law disclosures. Here we go.
We just wrote into this.
Yeah. Again, it's just the distance because I get no incentive from them. So.
I think as long as he files disclosure, I mean, I can look for it. It will probably cover it.
I think it helps that the applicant's amenable to it. I think the counter argument there is you don't ever want an applicant to feel like they have to say that for an approval. But that being said, I do think that it was conveyed that he has the opportunity to continue this the next meeting if he wants. He has chosen not to. Is that correct? He chose not to. Okay, perfect. So you are so just to be clear, providing that we get the document, we get it signed, you're perfectly amenable to all the board members that are present to vote on.
Well,
necessity.
Chantel, if you were to email that to me tonight and I sign it tonight and email it back to you, would that count?
Doing it, it's a question of can you do it before the meeting or after the meeting? I would say until at some point this week you could probably get it done that way, but I don't know that it's.
And Alex, this is on the record with the video and the minutes, so I think okay.
Okay.
But I will reach out to you with one.
I mean, they're all on here. There's a million of them.
I'm sure they're.
I'm looking at all of them now.
Okay.
Disclosure of appearance of conflict of interest. Yeah, it's taking into account the facts that it just goes above. I feel like I can perform my official duties objectively and fairly.
Have them state that.
Hey, Alex.
Yep.
Can you state if you agree with this statement, taking into account the facts that you disclosed earlier about your location to this property, do you still feel that you can perform your official duties objectively and fairly?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay.
As well as invoking the rule of necessity, we can take the board for a vote.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
So I'm allowed to vote on this, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
We're moving forward with that presumption.
Did we close the hearing yet? I don't think so, right? Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second that motion.
Motion's been made to close the hearing. The second by Peter. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Paul?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Paula? Aye. Discussion?
I have nothing.
I'm just saying, it's pretty much the modification and bringing for the building facade on the first floor elevation to the outermost point to make it flush. And the awning, if built, would be similar in elevation as presented, and the applicant to submit the elevation for approval prior to construction. And yeah, and the board is invoking the mention the approved necessity of disclosure necessary. Made for a motion with a second by Peter. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Paul?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda? Aye. Paula, aye.
No problem. Good luck, guys.
Appreciate it. Scenario, it's fine, whatever. Yeah, so with this, we can hopefully, maybe we can.
Appreciate it. Yes, let's go.
Our next item only needs a majority. Zoning Act for Chapter 40A, Section 5 of Mass General Law. The planning board is holding a public hearing considering amendments to the City of Pittsburgh zoning ordinance for amendments to Section 181.85, the flood protection overlay district for the flood of Massachusetts model floodplain bylaw and FEMA definitions to correlate when FEMA issues the new firm and FIS maps.
There is no one here and no online attendees, so not, I mean, take public comment, but no one to give it.
So is there anyone available? There's no one in the room, but I'm in for this board question. Anybody have any public questions on this? Any, including any board? No. Okay. Any one comment? Sure. Fantastic. Go ahead.
I recommend that the board the draft or ordinance, so it's going to the city council, as well as the draft maps.
We have draft.
So the one question I have about that is, I didn't think the council takes any action on the maps or the FEMA firm itself. It's just adding the language to our zoning board.
Yeah, DEP got back to me and is also asking for approval for the maps as well.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just waiting.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well make it. I don't think it's, yeah, I don't think it's an
I guess
issue
it's
at all.
whatever it is for the reference for the maps that it's referenced with, their draft maps.
With the ordinance.
Yeah, that it's just referenced that there's just a reference to where the maps reside, right? Aspect of that when in their final format, whatever format that they need to be in. So that we're not gonna pigeonhole it to a specific date.
Yeah.
Right, it's gonna make sure the reference is in accordance with the ordinance and that it fluxes as necessary when the maps are updated, that we don't have to make an ordinance change.
Well, there is a date.
They're all dated.
They did ask us to put a date. Oh, the draft bylaw, which would be July 8th.
That's when they become effective.
When they become effective.
Okay.
So it's just a date to start them.
Yeah, but it's not the actual, it's the effective date of the maps.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're not the ones updating the maps, is what I'm trying to say. It's like,
Absolutely.
we don't want to, it's not our like zoning map. This
No,
is like-
Well, these ones only took 40 years, so I wouldn't
Yeah,
worry
these
too
are
much
FEMA
about that.
maps, so.
I'll make a motion to make that recommendation to the city council.
Second.
Oh, look at that. And the second, I'll say second by Alex. Motion's been made for the recommendation to adopt the city council to adopt the recommended floodplain zoning ordinance changes and with the requisite maps. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Paul?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Paula? Aye. No.
One comment about other business. I assume next month we'll have the solar moratorium. Must have to
Yes.
rehear that. So the city council obviously didn't get anything done and solar moratorium expires today. No, this week. Yeah, the next week, the end of this week. So they are trying to extend it till October. So we're gonna have to rehear that public hearing, which we did 6 months ago. So.
Yep, there's also additional information between the Massachusetts
Model language.
energy council, like who's coming up with new model, like new language. And also like I'll say superseding type of authority regarding solar and batteries, depending on the size. That the state was going to take certain things off the hands of the local in regards to that. So they're coming out with some language for that too. So you have to just look at the timelines and make any recommendations. City council just looking for like a 6-month extension just on the petition that was brought forward last year regarding some comments that needed to be updated, but there seems to be there are going to be some substantial changes to solar and battery. So we just want to make sure everybody's aware what the timelines are for that because of that. So we could find that out, at least on their website, like some, we're searching on that, about that. How far along there. And, underneath, need the business or communications. I am not going to be available for July. Yeah. I'll be in Maine.
So
I think I'm gonna be in May too.
The last week of July.
So we have a decision to make. Either we try and piece it together. So the problem is someone chairing the meeting has to be physically present. I can't chair virtually. You can't, I don't think anyone can chair virtually.
No.
I think the chair has to be in person if the meeting's hybrid. So
we could do is people available the week before?
So I leave the 15th to the 25th. So I don't know what we're talking about. So the 15th is the week before.
Is that the
15th is the week before. 22nd is our July meeting. That's Saturday. It's a Tuesday.
Okay, so not the 15th. So it would have to be, if we wanted to have one the first week of August.
29th. Well, 29th. Oh, you gone the 29th?
Yeah.
We need 2 August meetings. We need 5 people. Yeah, we need at least 5 people here for a meeting. August. Our August meeting is the 26th, our regular meeting.
We do that last year.
I know when I was on vacation in July, I did it virtually, but I wasn't sharing the meeting. You would have been.
Right. But now we're both going to be up.
What if we did a Monday instead of Tuesday for July?
Do Monday, the 14th?
Yeah.
So I think the only way we solve this is if we do we pick you pick 3 or 4 days or 2 or 3 days, and Chantel does an email with I know this website's like Doodle has one. Yeah, where you basically select all the ones you can make, and then the most people that can make those 2 or 3 days, that's the day you pick. So I think it'd be incumbent on you, Paula, like maybe you and I, if you want, to talk in the next week or so to figure out 2 or 3 days that work, and then go from there. I mean, we can even, if you want to stay a few minutes after this, we can probably do it today. I don't know if people want to leave, they don't have to wait for that, but like Monday the 14th, what Alice's suggestion could be one of them. And then what days are you gone? You, Paul. Do you need your?
Oh, gone. 16th to the.
So I suggest. So my suggestion would be the 14th, 28th, or 29th. That's Monday the 14th, Monday the 28th, Monday the 29th.
You're back.
Yeah, I get back on the 25th. I mean, realistically, only one of us needs to be here to chair the meeting. I can join in from Alaska and still run the exhibits. They're all on mine. Not really a problem.
Alaska?
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Time is going to be that.
Oh, that's true. It's a 4-hour time difference. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be tough.
Wow, Paul.
Yeah.
That dedication
Yeah. The time difference would be the problem.
Probably would be the 29.
So 14, 28, or 29, or 14 or 29 would be my suggestion. 29th is perfectly fine with me. That's Tuesday.
I have no issue. I have no issue with the 29th. I can make it.
It's a regular.
Well, most people go to the beach. You go to Alaska.
My wife has family there. It's a trip we've been planning for a long time. And I don't like the beach, Peter. So rather ponds and wildlife.
You'll get a good view of the Northern Lights.
Yeah, it might be.
Amanda, can you do the 29?
Yes.
You have any idea if you can do the week after our regular meeting in July?
I believe I can. We're going to be in Maine for 3 weeks. First, second, and third week of July.
Perfect.
So I think that'll work.
Yeah, you probably, because this is the 5th week of July.
Yeah.
So
I think that'd be good.
Okay, I'm looking to see, availability.
I'm sure it'll be here, but it's also late enough where some people need, I know like the CBA's, well, they don't do those. Oh, yeah.
Can I just suggest to like not meet in July? Like, let's just not.
That too.
So would we double up in August, or we just it's a total skip?
Because I'll just let you, that's going to be, I'm going to be almost no meeting materials.
So
I'm saying total skip. We deserve it.
Yeah.
It's certainly a possibility. I mean, I'd like to keep it on there, and if there's anything that's an emergency, line of sight plans, A&Rs, we could just get them done, even if there's 4 of us. And if the summer, people are always gone over the summer, so we run the same issue. If we don't have a July meeting, then someone's on vacation in August. We could have the same problem. So I don't know. I'll leave it.
I just wanted to make sure we were considering it.
I'll leave it to our board chair. That's why she gets paid the big bucks.
Could certainly look at that. I mean, we can look into the, we just know we can't do the 22nd. It's not going to happen. So at that point, just figure out we can alternately schedule it. And then that being said, depending on what comes in, it's like maybe if there's stuff that comes in, it's only like minor things and not substantial. And just because Paul and I, we're going to be away, we're not even going to be able to review material. So it's like, how effective can we be? I do that. Materials are all another 2 weeks. I can't review materials the week before.
I know you. I know.
I don't want to do it on vacation.
I hear you.
That's what'll kill me.
I hear you. And I don't expect you to.
They'll be like, look at it.
Yeah, you guys shouldn't have to work on your vacation, man.
I'm fine with that. What I can do is play with the other people with for the office.
And certainly, knowing this conversation, the community development office should certainly let people know if things get continued to June, they might go till August. Yes. So I think that people should be warned that that's a very distinct possibility. So. Yep. Sure. Yep. Okay.
And I'm sorry, but I didn't get a chance to look at the minutes.
I didn't either. Oh, did I send them? No, I didn't.
And these are January minutes, so maybe next meeting we'll have another set or two so that we can start to get caught up.
I didn't send those. I didn't do them either, right? We just got them last week, right?
Yeah.
Right. No, neither of us.
No, I didn't have opportunity.
Yeah, that's fine. I just didn't know if they did it.
I hope
Thank you. And that was great what you did for did you send those to Christine? You already did the summary there as well.
Well, no, I haven't, but I can send it to Christine. Yeah, I can do that.
Sure.
Motion to adjourn.
Yep, motion's been made to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
I'll second.
In a second. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 There's no option for being opposed. Opposed. None. Adjourned.
Have a great evening, everybody.